Okay, my first question, Jason, how many times did you have to watch the Mr. Rogers movie to get through Euphoria season 3, episode 5?
I didn't watch that yet. I didn't have enough
What?
budget. I didn't have enough budget in my schedule for for it. It seemed. I feel like dirty watching that show. Like it's a sort of show where it's like. If someone walked in and heard what was playing on the speakers, I would like immediately lock screen.
I've actually I've honestly never really watched very much of it. I tried to watch the first season, and honestly, without dropping too much Rosie lore, as I was a crazy teen, so I did not. I started watching that show, and I was like, no thanks. But I keep up to date with it heavily. Because I follow loads of incredible cultural critics, and I also have loads of Gen Z girlfriends. So yes, I'm very well versed. I have not been able to. I've seen some of the stuff from this season, and I've not really been able to stomach it. The whole Cassie arc and
the Cassie of it seems just like a particular kind of punishment at this point.
It's a very big part of she's clearly the only one who still just says yes to everything that he wants, that Sam wants. Whereas Jacob Elordi was like, I'm not going to be a piece of shit anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a sociopath. And Zendaya was like, I'm not going to be in your fucking stupid show for more than 3 minutes.
Right.
But
exactly.
Sydney Sweeney said,
whatever you want, boss.
Whatever you want. And the sad thing is, everyone keeps saying, and obviously there's a reason for this, but when Sydney Sweeney is in Euphoria, she is better than in any other show because she taps into this rawness and this realness and this desperation that we don't get to see in other performances from her.
That's a good observation.
And let me just say, as the person who has seen episode 5 and all the episodes,
I've seen clips.
This was the one that really took Cassie deep into the OnlyFans zone, and they certainly were going for it, and I was surprised at how far they went. But there are also, and people have been saying, does she realize she's making fun of herself, and she's just getting totally crushed here. She has this multiple absolutely incredible moments in this episode, including a great moment of acting that she is really putting on
this is the Cleopatra
chops.
bit, right?
The Cleopatra bit, yeah, and so I don't know. It's really fascinating. Definitely, Sam is a sicko. There's no question about that.
Yeah, I'm I hate Sam, but I do think that, and also I just want to say, I don't know if you guys have talked about this before, but it's come out again. But also remember, guys, the reason you liked Euphoria seasons 1 and 2 is because of a young female artist called Petra Collins, who is actually a photographer who was hired to originally direct the show. You can find her photographs. The entire aesthetic of it is, and this is coming up again. Yeah. She was actually hired. She worked on 5 episodes, and then HBO told her they weren't going to go with her because she was too young. And Sam took it over, and every single aesthetic and billboard is just ripped off from Petra's work. And then it came out enough that in season 3 he had to diverge from that. This is much more along the roads of The Idol, But I do truly believe I was a Sydney Sweeney apologist until she came out as just being a straight up racist, and I was like, okay, babe, I can't do that anymore. I thought the choices she made in movies were really interesting. That Immaculate movie, you're gonna have a fucking abortion of Jesus, okay, and also having big
Madam
boobs.
Web.
Dude, Madam Web. Also, I have big boobs, and I'm a woman, and I'm vaguely perceived, and it's so weird. So I was always rooting for her on that side because
I don't know if you
people
saw
are so
they
weird.
They did
her.
An Attack of 50 women.
Oh, I seen it. No,
her boobs.
So many people sent it to me.
It is wild.
I hope she's gonna have a redemption arc in real life. But she is great in Euphoria. That's I share all the time with people the scene of her in the bathroom, the Oklahoma scene.
Amazing.
What do you mean I look like I'm in Oklahoma? And they're like, are you fucking joking?
It
and
is really
the
funny.
Crying. Yeah. But she's so real and good in that.
Yeah.
I think the reason she's letting Sam exploit her so much in this season with this kind of in my opinion, I just don't think this is considered choices by her as a woman in her mid-20s dealing with all the shit she's dealing with. But I just think she's the only one not saying no to him anymore.
I do want to put a pin in the Madam Web of it because it is part of my commentary for Batman and Robin. I would like to return to it in short order.
I am curious, Jason, your take. so there's been quite a bit of pushback from the OnlyFans community that are saying like this is like
sex
a really
workers are pissed.
exploitative thing.
Yeah.
So like, what's your take on this?
I mean, I learned things from that article. I forget where it was published. We should link to it. That was like sex workers pig. It was interesting. The quote that I liked about it was they're like, look, they're saying all this stuff that she's doing, like, the babyfication and wearing diapers and stuff like, and like you cannot do that on OnlyFans because you'll get banned, because they actually do have like strict guidelines, and this is like
and it's
the point.
Essentially like a corporate space as well.
Right.
Like
exactly.
it has like gentrified a lot of the sex worker spaces, like the old back page and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting that like. I do think that critique is interesting. I do think like there is something like sort of classically leftist about like OnlyFans exists and people have made hundreds of millions of dollars on it and like off of sex work, and this is bad. Like like like.
Can we also remember like that's because men like don't like it when women make millions of dollars off sex work. They're like, wait, why can you do that? I know even OnlyFans doesn't like it. I mean, no corporation likes that, and so they change their back ends and their terms of services so the next person can't make as much money. But I do think it's. The sex work conversation is always funny too, because there are so many people who are just like, it's just like, you just can't do it. It's misogyny to do it. And I'm just like, guys, it's like the oldest shit in the book. Like,
and
throughout my life, I've known so many women who are sex workers. Like it's in all different forms of life. Like it's not one thing.
I feel like
just one part.
I feel like the critique that's difficult is like that there's this ethical version of sex work that exists outside of the constraints of capitalism somehow, and like therefore is virtuous. And it's like, okay, like I don't know what that looks like. That's like, sole proprietourship. That
but also I'm like, what do you mean? It's like that's also like socialism, I guess. Like if you're like what sex is bartering or something.
Or government. Yeah, it's just like I don't know. It doesn't fully.
Well, oftentimes those critiques and theories are not really based on like people's lived experiences or bettering them. They're just like to point prove, right? To be like, this is the best way of doing it.
Yeah. I just want women to have freedom to do what they want to do.
Thank you. Good answer.
And to be able to make money and provide for themselves. So and to do it in a way that makes them feel good. So like that's always my.
I know. I wish that specifically all representation. Well, not all, because there are great representations. There's really cool different shows and movies and stuff about sex workers. But like, I do hate that we never get to see that version. Like in a show like this, it's never like somebody's doing it and excelling and loving their life and having a great time. It's like this woman's tortured and she's doing it for the male gaze. And it's like, and I think that I'm excited to see more stories that aren't like that.
I haven't. Didn't Sean Baker do some stuff like Red Rocket and some of that? I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sean Baker's a really interesting filmmaker. I've interviewed him before. I also like Red Rocket's also like an age gap thing, which I don't love, But there's definitely, I think, like for Enora, for example, there was a lot of sex workers involved in that. He does a lot of what they call like hybrid filmmaking, where it's like you're kind of, that's like his first movie that he did, the co-directed movie with the Taiwanese female director. It's really good. Takeout. That's like hybrid, where half the stuff they were filming was just real people and half of it. So there's definitely levels to it. There's also a guy, a comics guy called Chester Brown, who's really famous for writing about sex work, right? So there is a movie coming out, which I'm really excited about, because there's been a lot of conversation about Chester Brown. Like, is it fetishization? But he also did a lot to like normalize sex work in the comic scene and just generally in life. And sort of the way it was talked about in that scene, and kind of a lot of sex workers were really fans of it. And then there was kind of a lot of conversations. But his ex-partner, who is a sex worker, who's a woman, has made the movie about Chester Brown and his work of sex workers. And it looks so cool. And like really, really interesting. I'll find it so we can link to it. But I think like we are definitely in a space where more of those conversations are happening, and like different kinds of stuff is being made, and we're getting out of just like, a sex worker dies in a movie, which is what it used to be.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And now, sure. I mean, there was even there was a great Emma Thompson movie. I think it was called like Hello Leo Grande or something Leo Grande, and
where she gets a gigolo.
Where she gets a gigolo, and it's this really affirming, incredible kind of love story, hopeful thing about an older woman getting a younger gigolo. So I think that we are getting them. And I do think that, ironically, and this is going to be a talking point I talk about with Batman as well, ironically, it is actually probably a good thing that we can have the Sydney Sweeney Euphoria version and the healthy version. Like, it's a big spectrum of storytelling. And to even be able to tell stories about sex workers and stuff, you kind of have to have gone through that male gaze, like, exploitation version, because you have to
come out the other side
and come out the other side and then go, well, how do we tell a story? Even Anora, there were women who worked on Anora, which famously did not have intimacy coordinators. It was Sean and his wife doing it. It was very controversial, who said, I loved working on it. It was great. And then there was a great interview with a woman who had said that, who was a sex worker who'd worked on the movie, who then got hired to adapt her own life story. And on that set, they had intimacy coordinators. And she was like,
oh,
wait, this is so much better. I think sometimes it's like, you don't know until you know. So it's always like an evolution and a kind of thing of changing, where even if you're having an okay, you're like, how can I do it better next time? You know? And I think hopefully that's gonna keep moving forward. I'm not gonna lie though, those pictures I see of Sydney Sweeney on that set are like the opposite of that for me, where it's like her leaned over on a sun lounger surrounded by like 50 white dudes, and there's not like a single woman there or anything. Like, that's why I call it more like exploitation, even though I'm pro young women like making money from sex.
Fair enough. Well, speaking of, getting things right as you do future iterations, we are
segue.
We are doing something that we have never done before, as we examine someone attempting just that, which is Joel Schumacher,
my king,
and his infamous 1997 superhero disaster, the beloved by some, especially in our community,
just me,
Batman and Robin.
It's definitely beloved by many in our community.
No,
people have both excited to do this because it's Rosie and excited because of the material. So it's a big day.
Also because they like to troll H. Like, that's real. Like, they just like to put him through pain. But I honestly I just think this is so much fun to watch this movie. I think even if you're a hater.
Listen, we're gonna get all the way into it. We're gonna have a good time with that. And Rosie, we're so thrilled to have you back for us tonight to do Batman and Robin. But before we do that, Jason, next week, the summer of Jason continues.
The summer of Jason.
How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling great.
We're settling in. You feel like
the schedule's coming together. It seems like it's gonna be great. I feel like I'm really this is it. This is what I've always needed.
Can I be offended here that I was not invited? Like,
you are. This is the summer of Jason.
I was gonna be like, do you hate me? I was like,
this is the summer of summer.
Week?
You're in it. Like,
I'm in it.
Okay, it started last week.
It started last week with Starfighter. No, that's how strong. That's how strong your pull is, Rosie. Is that even though I don't love Batman and Robin, Rosie must be part of the summer of Jason.
Thank you.
Well, Jason, you also were advocating for the people.
I was advocating for the people because I hadn't actually seen the movie.
Mistakes were made.
How bad could it be?
Okay, we'll find out. So next week, Jason joining us, one of your former coworkers, former U.S. ambassador, Johannes Abraham.
Johannes Abraham, a real killer, real smart dude. He's great. I've known him since 2015. He's had a variety of interesting jobs. He's like one of these like super geniuses who makes things run.
Cannot wait. I love super geniuses. And we are tackling an interesting choice for a super genius, Cameron Crowe's 2000 rock and roll memoir, baby. Almost Famous.
That's great.
We're finally getting there.
Emotional.
I'm glad we're doing it. It's a
Really
movie
excited.
that Crystal really loves, and I think I've seen only
Viva
once.
Dog! Come on, how about those guys?
She quotes it all the time.
Yeah, I love the scene with Tiny Dancer. That's like the biggest impact it had on me. That's kind of my biggest memory of watching that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Huge. Her wiping the tear away. Oh my God.
It's amazing. Yeah, I remember that. I've only seen it once.
That is next week. Almost Famous.
Almost Famous. Great.
Guys, can we do some quick Hatch news?
Hatch news from beyond.
We are locked and loaded, guys. We are only 10 days away from the triumphant return to the cinema of Star Wars.
Oh, God, no.
So,
no, not
Rosie,
triumph. Don't say triumphant.
Rosie, spill the beans. Have you seen the preview? Did you get to go? Like, what's the, like,
I'm going to tell you.
What are the tea leaves saying?
Oh, I want it to be good.
Of course.
Here are the positives that I've heard. I did not go and see the 25-minute preview.
Why would you go see a 25-minute preview?
It's not
how
enjoyable.
Can you enjoy that?
To me, I that's not what I enjoy about things like that. If I would rather go and see an episode of The Mandalorian at the cinema to throw back to that old school kind of serialization vibe. Like, I don't need to go and see the 25 minutes of the movie. So I haven't seen it. The trailers have looked very much like the TV show, but one of the big things I saw people saying coming out of the 25 minutes was that it's very like 90s action movie and feels like a very different tone than anything we've seen in Star Wars. I'm hoping that is not hyperbolic, but I saw more than one person say it. So that was quite interesting because it wasn't what I was expecting. I think the biggest worry a lot of us have had is this just looks like the TV show. Which was always going to be Disney's, issue to deal with after they decided to spend $50 million an episode on TV. But yeah, I don't know. We all love the baby. He's great. We love Pedro Pascal.
That baby.
We love that fucking baby. Like
Babu Frick.
Babu Frick. We love.
Martin
we love
Scorsese
puppets.
for some reason.
Martin Scorsese selling sandwiches. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. To me, that is a red flag for your movie's like instant
real red
success.
flag.
Because think about
Takes me out of it.
Also,
takes you so out of it.
What was the last big movie he had a cameo in? Shark Tale, a movie that is like more popular now with kids on Tubi than it was when it came out.
Good flag.
Like the Godfather of fish movies. Like, come on.
Jesus.
I do feel like Francesca, his daughter, who's very social media savvy, I feel like she may have been the one who organized or orchestrated this. I hope it can do something that feels vital. I feel like Star Wars needs to do something that feels new or fresh. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the Maul Shadow Lord series.
I'm not.
Yeah, just finished it.
Yeah, just finished it. But I will say, like, the biggest reveal at the end, once again, ties back to the old movies. It does not necessarily do something new or push something forward.
I mean, so let me just say, my 8-year-old lost his shit when that happened.
And that's who it's for. That's we've said that on the podcast. Like, it's a kid's show. There's a lot about show that did not work.
But Sam was
me.
already locked in before. I agree 100%. It did not. It's definitely Filoni doing Filoni, right? Like, it's all this deep lore of Mandalore and what's going on with Maul and his journey and all that stuff. I will say I found it extremely distracting by the fact that character, when he showed up at the end of I think it's episode 8, right? Or episode 9.
That character, yeah.
That character, when he showed up and then didn't speak, I was like, that doesn't make sense because this character always monologues.
He loves a little monologue. He loves a little monologue.
So that was a little weird, but that show is fucking gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. That's the biggest
paintings
thing.
that they did.
The textures that they used with the brush strokes. Like, I do think visually it's gorgeous. Yeah, I love Sam Witwer. He's amazing.
Yeah, and friend of the pod, Nika, worked on that as the editor, and the editing's great. Like, it really moves. But yeah, I thought it was fun, and I think the idea of getting kids into it, and I'm stoked. A bunch of Sam's friends are going to come with us. We're seeing it in IMAX,
exactly.
Or Atmos. So we're going to go for
it. We're taking the kids. We're taking the kids to.
I think that's we need that. But again, this is going to be a recurring point. I love the preamble you guys chose because it's tying into me. The thing that is great about
Star Wars,
sex work and Star Wars, but the thing that's great about that could be its own podcast actually. The amount of Star Wars burlesque I've been to in my life, but like
Andor season 1, episode 1, starting with sex work.
Exactly. Yes. But like the thing that I think is interesting about the Star Wars conundrum right now is Star Wars fits into the same thing as Batman, as Godzilla. This idea of like there can be a version for everyone, even representations of sex work, right? But like the problem right now, I think, is like Maul Shadow Lord, love it. It's for kids. Mandalorian and Grogu, love it. It's for kids. And I'm pro kids getting good entertainment. I do think that Disney needs to also be thinking about like continuing the adult fandom of Star Wars, which I think they focused on a little bit too much for a while.
Yeah.
But I think they need to be doing more variety and making more quickly, honestly, for a company this big.
I am not worried at all about achieving that goal with a 4-quadrant mega hit in Ryan Gosling.
You think it's Starfighter? I think it's Starfighter too.
I think Starfighter is going to be huge, and I think everyone on this podcast is in the tank.
I also think that might be why Disney isn't doing a lot of marketing. This movie cost like no money compared to other Star Wars movies.
Right.
It cost like $130 million, Mandalorian and Grogu.
So
it cost like the equivalent of 3 episodes of the TV show or something. So it's sort of like...
It's like a freebie.
Yeah, it's kind of a freebie for them. And I think they were hoping this would be that next launch pad, right? Because it's that era between the originals and the sequel trilogy that we've never really seen. It's Dave Filoni, but I think it just didn't hit the way that they wanted because of COVID, because of oversaturation. And I do feel like this is almost kind of like a freebie to sell toys leading into Starfighter.
I've given up hope on Star Wars. Toys. My take is
I understand.
You've reached completion. You've gotten what you needed.
I got Andor. It's like that's all we're gonna get, like until like there is a generational turnover at Disney, and then like in like when I'm in my dotage, I can revisit this franchise for my own purposes. I'll be able to enjoy it with my kids, and like they'll be able to enjoy it, blah blah blah. But like, until then,
Jason, I have to shout out Jason, my buddy Bo, who I'd been asking to watch, asking to watch Andor forever, texted me that, and he's like, okay, I watched the first episode. It's a little slow. And I was like, dude, I told you.
Everyone felt that way about the first season.
You have to watch the first 3 episodes together.
It's arcs.
And then he texted me again, and he's like, oh, yeah, I watched episode 4. I think I'm going to keep going. Maybe my girlfriend or my wife tapped out. I'm like, dude, text me after 6. You cannot text me in the middle of 5 and say it's a little slow.
No. That's like one of the best fucking arcs of television of all time, too.
Exactly. So anyways, we're making progress. He got excited. He was frustrated that there were no lightsabers and that it didn't feel like Star Wars. And I'm like, he's a mega cinephile. I'm like, dude, Tony, just like,
you're like, go for the cinephile. Tony Gilroy, enjoy your own show. Stop worrying about the lightsabers.
Yeah,
exactly.
Derek asked in chat, like, do we believe this rumor going around that they're gonna throw out the sequel trilogy, and like try again?
I do not believe that.
I don't believe that either. I think they will just sort of move sideways.
I think they're just going to pick and choose the things they want from it, right?
Yeah.
Like the Rey sequel.
What they emphasize.
Is it ever going to happen? I had recently read rumors that for the first time, John Boyega had actually just met with Disney and they'd offered him a ton of money to come back as Finn. I think that would be a much smarter track for them to go.
Feels like some bridges are burned there, to be perfectly honest. But
no, but
like...
I think they were burned, but I'm seeing both financially for John Boyega, many actors in their didn't, like with COVID, their studios and their deals got moved around. And with Disney, whose Star Wars movies are not hitting, it seems like this may have been a confluence where the bridges may be getting mended, especially with a potential move over. But yeah, I'll be interested to see where it goes. I don't think they're going to jettison the sequel trilogy. I think they'll just do what Dave Filoni did with the prequels, which is they'll expand what they want from it. They'll take what they want, like they did with the EU, and they'll build it into something else. Any big hopes for, not like emotionally hopes for Mandalorian and Grogu, but like anything you would love to see in it? Like, is there a certain fight you want to see, like some really cool shit? You want to see a weird character, like anything like that?
The only thing I can assume is that there's some big reveal that is coming in the end. Otherwise, they would have just screened the movie for people, right? Like, we're only 10 days out, and they would have just embargoed it. So I just want to have a good time. Like, all I care is that Sam has fun. This will be Sam's first Star Wars movie in a theater. So I hope it is just a good time. And I'm going in with low expectations. So
I'm going in with low expectations.
I'm also like, I love our community so much because literally within like a second, T was like, yeah, just make up like forced time travel or something. And then Derek was like, well, actually, it already exists, which is what I was going to say. And I have been saying ever since
World Between Worlds.
Ever since then, I even thought they were going to use it for Rise of Skywalker. I wrote a big article about it. But like that is the perfect way if they do just want to jettison certain stuff and bring certain stuff back. And they played into it in Rise of Skywalker a little bit with Rey like hearing the other Jedi's voices. Sure. But yeah, I fucking love that episode. It's like one of the best finales ever. Let's just have some fun, guys. Could we have a fun time?
Let's have fun. Just make a good movie that we can have fun with.
There'll only be misery.
Just put an Ewok in a movie again for me, please.
That would be exciting. If there's if there's an Ewok, I'll stand up and cheer.
Or that fucking Ben Solo Soderbergh movie. As long as there's no AI, Steven, come on, chill out.
Like Wicket the Ewok is like old and like kind of like vaping somewhere and like sort of, you know.
He's like the new Yoda. He's training baby Grogu.
They do have the evil Ewoks in Rebuilding the Galaxy. They're the bounty hunters because it's like a remix where the good guys are bad guys. And
the rebuild where it's the Lego one, right?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna rewatch Andor again.
That'll work. All right, that is it, guys. We cannot put this off any longer.
Sorry, guys.
Are you ready to get into this movie?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
It's time.
Batman and Robin is the truth that we all need someone we can rely on. Bruce Wayne and his ward, Dick Grayson, have settled into an uneasy partnership as the costumed defenders of Gotham, their teamwork hampered by each acting out the hurt and fears of the tragedies that shaped them. But the Bat family will be tested when their faithful butler and father figure Alfred falls ill and his long-lost niece Barbara arrives from England with secrets of her own. Meanwhile, the world's foremost cryogenics expert turned supercriminal Mr. Freeze joins forces with the newly power-imbued eco-terrorist Poison Ivy and her lumbering henchman Bane in a plan to wipe humanity off the planet so plants can inherit the Earth. To save Gotham from eternal winter and a botanical apocalypse, Bruce and Dick must learn that only by trusting each other as true equals can they become the legendary duo, Batman and Robin.
I don't know if it was my imagination or if you overemphasized the butt in Butler, but that's what it felt like. It felt like you put a little more sauce.
It's a very butt forward movie, so that would be correct.
It is a butt forward movie.
All right, so Rosie, what was the first time you saw Batman and Robin?
I don't remember the exact first time. It was probably 1997. I would have been like 9. So I probably did see it in the cinema, but I owned this on VHS and me and my sister used to watch it again and again and again. And I was so obsessed with like the neon colors and Poison Ivy's layer, the costuming. We would always be getting like really scared at the bit where she gets covered in the snakes and everything. Obviously I was a big Ninja Turtles head, so I loved all the like cowabunga. I was basically like exactly the age that was the target for this movie, especially because my first ever memory of being alive, which tells you a lot about me, was watching Batman, the first ever Batman, 1989. In the reflection of my uncle's window at Christmas, watching the Joker fall in the Acme toxin on TV. It was when it was like 1990 or something. So Batman had been like a big part of my life. I had seen Batman Returns at this point. Like I liked spooky stuff. But I just remember this. I just thought it was like really such a fun movie. And I loved Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was really big into action movies and stuff. So it just hit for me at the right time. And then hilariously, as I grew older and then I got into like pop culture journalism and stuff, I just didn't realize how hated it was because I was kind of like out of the loop of like cool Batman movies. That was like just a conversation you have at the comic shop, right? Everyone likes The Dark Knight. Great.
Right.
It was only when I like would be online and I'd be like, yeah, this is a fun movie. And people were like, this is like the worst movie ever made. So I wrote an article about it at Nerdist probably like 8 or 9 years ago now.
Shout out Nerdist.
Defending it. Of course.
All right. Well,
and yeah, that was where I loved it. That was how I ended up becoming the champion of it.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Well, I'll go next because I saw this in 97, definitely saw it in the theaters. And I had enjoyed Batman Forever, at least elements of Batman Forever. I really liked Val Kilmer in that. Nicole Kidman was fucking hot. And Seal, obviously, Kiss of the Rose. So I saw this in theaters, and I think I just was put off. It didn't.
How old were you?
27.
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolute wrong demographic.
I was 27. I just had a child. So I was probably sleep deprived, and I had also gone through my Arnold phase. Like Last Action Hero, I was like, "This is fucking
you're
over."
done. Whereas I loved it because I was a kid.
Yeah. So for me, this movie did not hit. Jason, what was your first experience with Batman and Robin?
I mean, I was in college when it came out. It was in the summer. I was just looking it up. It was June 20th, 97. And so I don't know for that summer. I think it is likely I stayed in Princeton that summer. And so I probably saw it in a very I think that was the summer where I was staying in a glass apartment that had no air conditioning in the humid New Jersey summer. And my roommate was listening to Natalie Imbruglia's Torn on repeat for 90 days. And we were smoking a bunch of weed, and I think we probably went to go see this movie at some point. And all of those elements combined probably are why I have very little memory of it. I remember everyone hated it. I remember it was just sort of a movie that people did not like, and we were not a big nerd comic book crew. No one had a particular attachment to Batman. It was just one of those well, that was fucking weird. And
how did that get made? That was generally the perception back then.
Yeah, it was did anyone watch this movie before it was released? Which was a reaction I had rewatching the movie this week as well. But I did not understand it at the time. I will say for sure.
That is very fair. A lot of people, you are not alone.
You are the majority.
Yes,
in this, the two of you, definitely.
All right, so let's do some quick behind the scenes. So obviously we have Batman '89 is the beginning, and
game
then
changer.
You have huge game changer, cultural phenomenon, just changed everything.
Also, I just want to say very importantly to why this movie is the way it is. It's Batman. 1989 was sold more merch than any other movie. It was merchandised up the yazoo. It was a 4-quadrant hit, and they decided they could sell toys off it. Batman Returns didn't do as well with the toys, and then we start shaping to this.
Yeah, so believe me, that's one of my main points. So of course, Batman '89, the production designer Anton Furst, absolute god of production design, and the greatest in the series. So you have that. You have Returns, which was more muted. Batman Forever, Schumacher's first Bat film, grossed $336 million worldwide in '95. It's the sixth biggest movie of the year. So Warner's greenlit Batman and Robin while Forever was still in theaters. They're like, let's go, let's do this. But Schumacher was told, let's make it more accessible, let's make it more family friendly, let's make it brighter.
Toyetic.
Kilmer decided not to come back, depending on who you talk to. He said he was bored with the role. He wanted to do The Saint instead, but also he was booked for Chris Chihurlis in Heat, which thank God.
Thank God.
God damn, imagine that.
Thank God he did that. Schumacher, a little more aggressive. He sort of quit. We sort of fired him. So it's a little bit of a mix, but they found themselves very quickly needing a new Batman. So this is 96 when they're 95, 96 as they're producing this. They go to ER. Clooney, the biggest show on TV. He was the biggest star on the show. It's produced by Warner Brothers TV. So he's in the family. So they quickly get him, and he signed without even seeing a finished script. He was ready to go for it.
Of course. Makes a ton of sense. Is it really his first movie? Is it his
No,
first?
he did Peacemaker with
I was gonna say.
Mimi Rogers, which is a really good movie.
Actually, and definitely sets him up for the Out of Sight era.
Yeah.
You know that
exactly.
Yeah.
He did this and Out of Sight in both in 97.
Very, very different takes. Thank God.
Very different.
Yeah.
But he was making money that year, and he's still making residuals now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No doubt. This casting near miss to me kills me. Patrick Stewart as the first choice for Mr. Freeze.
Oh yeah, that would have been interesting.
Scary.
Wow.
Could have been so good.
Yeah,
that could have been really different. Also, you had Demi Moore and Sharon Stone were considered for Poison Ivy.
I'm glad Uma was. She's like iconic in this role, so I'm glad she kept that one.
Yeah. So the plan was to let this thing ride. This movie is going to come out. They're going straight into Batman Unchained. Yep. Nick Cage is a scarecrow. Harley Quinn is the villain. Like having this huge hallucination scene at the end that was going to bring back Nicholson and DeVito and Tommy Lee Jones, all those guys. But with a budget of $125 million, this thing does only $238 at the box office. So it was a 50% reduction. And obviously was universally
killed the franchise.
So yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But basically, also at the box office in '97, My Best Friend's Wedding, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, Con Air, Face Off,
oh my
Men
God,
in Black, and Air Force One.
Wow.
So I will say almost every one of those is a miss for me.
I love Con Air. And Face Off. That's fun. Like two of my favorite movies.
Face Off we've done on the pod a very long time ago.
Yes.
Dude, I'm gonna take you guys. Come to LA. I'll take you to a screening of Face Off at like Vidiot's or the New Bev, and it's like the cinematic experience of your life.
Are they just always showing Face Off? Is like Face Off?
Oh yeah, they show it in LA all the time. Half the movie is filmed like next, but the actual third act of the movie is filmed outside my house. Which I love. But no, I mean, it's very beloved in LA. They show it all the time. It's regularly getting, Q&A and 4K restorations and all that kind of good stuff. We're Nick Cage lovers here. But yeah, I mean, I got to see it at Vidiot's for my birthday a couple of years ago with a couple of friends. It was an incredible experience, but the best part was the girl behind me who definitely had no idea what the movie was, who was doing like a full commentary. And every time that somebody said like, you're going to take your face off, she just like lost her shit. It was so good. It was so good.
I love that.
1997, not a good year.
I have mixed feelings about it. As I've said many times, like for me, I don't appreciate ironic humor or parody stuff. So for me, it's like Terminator 1 over Terminator 2. Or if I look back at if I'm looking at a beloved movie, I don't know,
is Terminator 2 a parody? Like what is that? What are you saying?
It's just like
Hasta La Vista, baby.
Okay, so you like Evil Dead 1 instead of Evil Dead 2.
No, I love Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, but Evil Dead 2 is that's like the blueprint for all the other movies that would try and do that.
Correct,
right?
But like I'm not huge on like by the time you get to Army of Darkness, I'm like, it's just too cheesy.
Silly. Yeah,
it's too silly.
He's a serious man.
It's too ironic. Yeah, I mean, like Raiders to me. You look at Raiders. Raiders has humor top to bottom, but it's 100% straightforward, as opposed to Last Crusade, where it's starting to get a little corny on some of the stuff that it's doing. So
I'm gonna get polarized into liking this movie because of how bad H's reasons for
definitely gonna do it. But also, I just want to
side with Rosie.
H, I just want to say, I actually think you might enjoy that new He-Man movie that's coming out. The Masters of the Universe. Because I was at CinemaCon with the director Travis Knight, and we were talking about it, and they showed us 30 minutes of the movie. Okay. It's so much more sincere than you would think. It's basically like an Aquaman style movie, like with how colorful it is, but like the sincerity and heart of Bumblebee, of those Leica movies. Nicholas Gilitzine, who plays Adam, is like a star. If you've seen Bottoms, if you've seen Red, White, and Blue, he's incredible. The moment when he actually says for the first time, like by the power of Grayskull, I have the power, and they do this kind of magical girl, like golden around him. They show him transforming. And like the 10 other guys, it was all dudes, obviously. We were like crying in the theater.
Wow.
Like it fucking hits. Like and I know I have corny tastes, but I feel like the balance of sincerity and like understanding of the meta online conversation is gonna be its strength.
That's great to hear. Crystal I think you guys will probably enjoy it.
Visually,
Crystal is very, very excited.
Visually as well, it looks really fucking good.
Crystal has already said that we're going to see both Mortal Kombat 2 and
a woman of taste.
Yeah, she's very excited about both of them.
Okay, guys, I'm going first.
Okay.
I'm going first.
Watch out, Jesus.
He
comes
hates
in
this
firing.
movie so much.
Here-
Jason.
He's got to get it. He's got to get in there. Rosie, you've already won me over just because
Thank
of just
you.
to oppose age. So
Here's my first shot across the bow. Ready?
Go for
victory.
it.
George Clooney is great in this movie.
Yeah.
Actually,
Correct.
Yeah.
he is an awesome Bruce Wayne.
He's
He
a
is like-
perfect Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I think he's terrific in this movie,
Yeah.
and I've seen many interviews where he personally takes the whole thing. It's my
I
fault.
know.
I did,
know.
like,
it's
I tried to do,
but
what
that's
I,
just
what
like
we could,
noblesse
and we just
oblige
missed.
because like he's so fucking successful that like
His
he
high
can be like
status is-
he this dud is my fault. Like like he can
But the
could
fact
take that on.
he has always been the greatest. When he punched David O. Russell in his fucking face because he pushed a crew member.
Yes.
Like George is a goat, and I will love
George
him
is
forever.
great.
My bravery. I love
want to
George Clooney.
say, also, I agree with you, H. I think I think that it's really great casting, and I also think this sets up George Clooney for his Ocean's 11 era, his Hollywood movie star era, because Bruce Wayne is very much that suave, sophisticated. We were joking in the chat last night with when the movie was on, but like, what's his superpower, right? And I said, well, his superpower is kind of being rich and raising his eyebrow, but that is actually like George Clooney makes you believe that could be a superpower in
It could
this.
work.
Like, he's so charming. He's fantastic. I think I want him to get to see this at like a Alamo or New Beverly style screening and understand that actually there's like a lot of love for this movie. And it's not just for corny camp, Rocky Horror style-esque reasons, as I will argue on this thing. I actually think this is like an incredible adaptation of the Golden Age and Silver Age Batman comics.
I agree with this take very strongly. It wasn't one of my points, but I'm glad it came up. I was like George Clooney can fucking get it. Like he is like the
whole time I'm watching the movie, I'm like, wow, I would still have sex. Since I was like a kid and I was watching this movie to being an adult woman, I'm like, I would have sex with this Bruce Wayne. Like I get it. Like
really the best. Very, very charming. He's also like so young in this. Like you're like, oh
so
wow,
fresh-faced.
like George Clooney.
I think he's like
really
35 maybe in this, something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's really great. Love George Clooney.
Really, really, really fantastic. Okay, Rosie, where do you want to start?
I think I'm gonna start. You know what? I'm just gonna start at the beginning because it was a talking point in the chat. It was a talking point with Jason when he was first watching it. Let's talk about like the crazy butt opening. Right?
Yes.
Where you're like...
Let's talk about the butts.
The butts. So I think that, this establishes essentially the mission statement of the movie, which is it's camp, it's colorful, it's going to be a little bit like pushing things forward, it's going to be sexy, it's going to lean into the things that have always made Batman attractive, but it's going to do it in a way that is like in your face. So think about Batman Returns, right? Catwoman, she's in a dominatrix style costume. It's latex. It's beautiful. We love her. She's so sexy. But it still has, like, it's very smooth. It doesn't necessarily have nipples. It doesn't show butt cracks. There's things in the 80s and 90s that you couldn't necessarily do. Here, Joel Schumacher's like, hey, have you ever heard of the male gaze? But on men, like, let's look at a butt. Like, butt. Belt buckle, like it's
Codpiece.
Codpiece. It's so
Nipples.
Dynamic. It's so silly. Nipples, right? The bat nipples. This was such a huge deal. I also think in that way, I kind of love how mad it made people. I think even as a kid, I understood that I liked that men were like angry about this. Because if you think about how women are shot in movies, think about like Barbed Wire. Think about the first Fantastic Four movie that came out a few years after this.
Jessica
Alba with all the jokes. And I love her. I think she's a fantastic Sue Storm. I think she was so great for this comedic, beautiful, starlet version. But like so many of the jokes were at her body or at like her sexiness or her being naked. And I kind of think that this is really, to me, the power of the movie because Joel Schumacher was an out gay director in the 90s in Hollywood. He was one of the few. And I think that with this movie, he said, like, fuck it. If you want me to make it colorful and toyetic, then I'm going to go, like, full to the other side where it's almost like John Waters levels of camp, whether it is how we portray Poison Ivy, whose costuming is so incredible in this movie, or whether it's how we bring in these cameos like Jason Woodrow, who is from the comics. That's one of Swamp Thing's villains, you know, one of my faves, and kind of like his representation as the mad scientist. It almost is like a kind of comic book trope like kind of like specialist of like, here's a playset you could make for kids, it's their lair. Here's a playset you could make for kids, it's where she gets turned into Poison Ivy. Here's the Batcave. It reminds me a lot of He-Man, of Masters of the Universe, of that toyetic like Transformers. How do you sell toys to kids via entertainment? I grew up on that, so I think that's another part of why it's appealing. But yeah, I mean, I love that opening. I also think that it leans into one of the funniest reasons that this movie sticks is like Joel Schumacher understood something that DC has always known and was such a big worry when CBS began making the Batman 66 TV show, which is that two men living in a house together when they are adults is kind of gay. Right. So in the 66 show, they introduced Aunt Harriet, who is this woman who they made to live in the house so it didn't seem gay. Joel Schumacher is like, you guys wouldn't let me cast somebody actually cool. And remember, original Robin casting, 1995, would have been young Marlon Wayans. He was originally supposed to be Robin in Batman Returns. Right. He was supposed to return and properly get his role in Batman Forever. And he got kicked out and then they replaced him. And the best thing is about that is because they basically fucked him over. He still gets residuals.
Really?
And royalties from that movie.
That's
allegedly.
crazy.
That's the Hollywood law. Because
shout out to Marlon Wayans' representation. They really
cut him out of the movie. He was in there and they cut him.
No, they were going to have him. He did costume fittings. They said there were too many characters, but then eventually ended up adding back in Chris O'Donnell when Robin gets introduced. But yeah, I think that like Joel Schumacher also understood like this movie's about these two men just arguing constantly, but Chris O'Donnell doesn't look like a teenager. He looks like a 25-year-old man. So he's like, why can't I drive the car, Daddy? Like, it's so outrageous and so camp and gay. And I just think Joel Schumacher always knew the movie he was making. And again, guys, he understood that this is actually part of Batman's precedent because Batman 66 was so overtly camp and queer and sexual. Those guys were out having orgies and shit. Like the meta legend of the two guys who play Batman and Robin is so crazy. And this to me was Joel Schumacher just making a movie that was so wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like I understand what I'm making even if the studio doesn't.
So this was going to be this is one of my points was like the camp of it, and specifically the dialogue with Batman 66. Like one interesting point here is that we in 2026 are as far from Batman and Robin in 97 as Joel Schumacher was in 97 from Batman 66. Like it's the same difference. And so it's so like
old, guys.
So you can kind of like think about like, well, what would like a generational look back be for us? Like it would be looking back to the 90s as like something like, and which there is a lot of like dialogue with the 90s and culture right now of like, what that sense of fashion was and what like, like subculture was of the 90s and all of those things. Not enough. There hasn't been enough sort of resurrection of rave culture for my taste, but like
agreed. It's so weird to me too because when I was growing up in the 90s, right, my parents were ravers, so that was a big part of my culture. Then when I was like in my my teens and my 20s, I was into what was called new rave then, that now the kids call indie sleaze. So it feels like the cycle is overdue.
The cycle is over
for the 90s, and like bring it back.
So I mean, I totally agree. Like that, like the 66 Batman is like super campy. It's like very much playing with like gender. And I think I get what he's doing here from the opening. I mean, you don't like show a bunch of leather clad asses accidentally in the movie. So I get what's happening here. I guess for me, I just don't like intellectually. I get that it works. I don't know if it doesn't like satisfy a cinematic experience for me. But that like as we've talked about before, I just don't know if camp is exactly my preferred
let me tap
mode
in.
of entertainment.
let me tap in here on this. So my point was this script is hot garbage, and so I mean, two things. So first of all, Akiva Goldsman wrote the script in 6 weeks.
Is that
Why
true?
Did he write
I didn't even know Akiva was around back then. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, this was one of his first big ones. This and Lost in Space, I think, were like
going great for him back then. Clearly, it worked out.
Yeah, just never quit.
But why did he write the script in only 6 weeks? Because he had to hit the toy merchandise schedule.
Exactly.
They already had the 97 summer release date locked before the script existed, and so they had to do it. So here's the part that kills me about this movie. Almost every single line in this movie is delivered as a laugh line, and almost none of them are actually funny. They're just like,
disagree on the second factor, but I do agree the first point is a big problem.
To me, this is just like cringe line after cringe line after cringe line. It just drives me completely crazy. Having to, whether it's chicks dig the car, this is why Superman works alone. Like, it's not that those lines couldn't be funny or individually aren't funny, but when you try and do an entire movie where every single line is that, it's just fucking exhausting.
I guess like the corollary point I'll make before giving Rosie the rebuttal here is that like I definitely had the reaction like watching Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie being like, wow, like, who's doing a bunch, like who was like known for doing a bunch of like,
quippy
tagline, quippy tagline stuff. I definitely had the reaction watching the movie being like, Arnold's a better actor than this. Like, he could do a better.
Yes.
I thought that as a kid too. I did.
He could do better than he's doing in this movie.
I think it was hard to act in that costume though.
The costume was a lot.
Costume is insane.
I could not believe he allowed them to paint his fucking face with the glitter and shit.
Yeah.
How did they get that off?
The commitment, that's the thing to me that I think. Yeah, right. He had to have the crew. Oh yeah. By the way, guys, because obviously this is not a visual medium, I am wearing a Batman and Robin T-shirt, and on the back, timely, I did write starring Vivica A. Fox because she is in this movie as of.
She is confusingly in this movie.
She is confusingly
and her character's name is Miss B. Haven.
I know, I wrote that on the back of my shirt too. I love her. But also I want to say, like, this is how you know that they didn't know what was going on with this movie. And this is not like to like you said, 6 weeks, toys, all that stuff. Ironically, that also led to like some of the best stuff in the movie because they just lifted a bunch of the Mr. Freeze emotional stuff. It's just from the Paul Dini Heart of Ice episode in Batman the Animated Series, which was so popular at the time that they wanted to start connecting. So all of the stuff that I think does actually hit, like, especially if you show this to a kid, this shit still gets them because, like, with Mr. Freeze and his wife, that's actually all taken from Batman the Animated Series, and that episode is arguably the best episode of the show. So I kind of love that the shorthand pushes them to goodness at times.
That is the only like meaningful element of this. And I just want to give a shout out because last night at 9:30, I completed booking Paul Dini coming on Escape Hatch in 3 weeks. He's coming on for Secrets of Nim.
That's going to be great. That's going to be a
Secret of Nim.
The legend. Legend.
Cannot wait.
I just want to say about the writing though, quickly.
Yeah.
I just think I do agree with you again. Like, but I think it's about like making the best of a bad situation. I've seen so many movies with terrible writing, right, that are just completely forgettable. Or you go the other way, like something like The Room that becomes like its own experience because you can't just watch the movie. This is a movie I think is actually incredibly watchable to people of my taste who enjoy camp, who enjoy old Silver Age Batman comics where like Batman has rainbow costumes or him and Robin are always getting killed, or like super dickery as we call it, where you see Superman and he's like tying Lois Lane to the front of a train, like that kind of campy shit. But I also think as well, in its own way, it's actually like incredibly ahead of its time, the writing, because you mentioned, right, trying to do every single thing as a laugh line. There is a reason this movie has stayed so culturally relevant, and that is because the movie is incredibly memeable. There are so many of those moments that both hit and don't hit that it has essentially created its own ecosystem outside of the movie. And now there are movies that would love to try and make 5% of the memes that came out of this movie, right?
That's
so in a
true.
way, there's a lot of interesting stuff, I think, that is not necessarily intentional, but that has made this movie more relevant right now because of the way that people take in humor, take in information in these kind of short bites. So yeah, there's just a lot that I find really interesting about the movie contextually, like now.
Some of it is tricky though, right? Like, so you've got, the whole conflict between Bruce and Dick, I think, falls pretty flat.
Oh,
as you called out,
plot
because
line.
because they're so close in age, it just really doesn't work. And also just like little stuff, like when Barbara shows up in the costume and is like, Bruce, it's me, Barbara. Like, studio note, like somebody's like, make sure people understand that's her, which I don't know why you need that.
Yeah,
or the two scientists who were giving the blow by blow of what's happening in the fight. Like,
well, also
why
make her, why is she Alfred's, like,
niece?
She's Alfred's daughter. Niece
she
now,
seems
like,
very British,
Yeah,
clearly
I mean,
Alicia.
Also, like, coming off Clueless, like, and let's be real, another thing that we can thank this movie for, I mean, I mean, you were older, obviously, but like as a kid, that shot where Dick like looks up her legs in it is like so good and hot and like was such an awakening. And again, I think you get that from the gay man and his weird fucking angles. Like this, the angles
it worked
in
as a
this
27-year-old. I will say,
good.
Like, she was a sensation. Alicia Silverstein was people don't understand.
We love her.
What a sensation she was a real at that point.
She was a real hot property at that point.
I
do that. Like that does that. The angles of it, that leads into one of my points, which was like the cinematography of the movie, which is bananas. Like,
absolutely bonkers.
like the two things about the movie, like putting aside the script, like the two things that really are just gigantic swings that I think, depending on your perspective, work to some degree or don't, are the lighting and the just the filmmaking. Like there are angles in this movie that are like so long, so Dutched, so weird that like they do not appear in contemporary cinema anymore.
And,
like no one would do it.
Think about this shot. I was rewatching it this morning. The shot where at the beginning, which by the way, again, for me, I have a Jurassic Park tattoo. I grew up loving dinosaurs. I'm 9 years old. This movie has fucking Batman like ice skating down the back of a dinosaur. That's still cool. That's like straight out of a comic book. That's some crazy ass shit that you could still see in like a Tom King comic book nowadays, or a Daniel Warren Johnson. A little nod, but still weird, But that shot they go right in and they go like through the window and they're twirling. Like as a kid, I found that so exciting. And also to jump off, Jason, as you said about the lighting, I also do want to make a bold claim here that I think is true. This is really the first time that we see in Hollywood that what is now colloquially known as bisexual lighting. The blues,
I love this.
The pinks,
okay, go off.
The purples. Wait, do you guys not know? Okay, bisexual lighting is a big deal.
I'm not tracking bisexual lighting, but I'm very interested.
It was a big deal during COVID. People would talk about it a lot, and there's like a lot of really funny memes with it. Like The Thing has a lot of bisexual lighting.
Interesting.
I would say this is more intentional.
What are the hallmarks of bisexual lighting?
It's like blue and
purple.
I see. And it kind of goes over your face. Looks dramatic. There's a lot of it in Kong Skull Island, hilariously. Because I did a live Q&A with the director Jordan, who's been trying to make that fucking that Solid Snake movie for a long time, which I would love to see. And he was like, what the fuck is bisexual lighting? And everyone was like jumping on and explaining it. But then one of my favorite memes is like, it's a picture and they'll be like, girl, that's not bisexual lighting. You're being tracked by The Thing. Because it's like McCready with the bisexual lighting. But there's a lot of it in this, which is that kind of, it's almost like girly giallo. It's like gel color blue, pink. And it's become a very popular kind of aesthetic shorthand. But as I was rewatching it today, I was like, oh my God, there's so much in this.
And when you combine the bisexual lighting with pink gorillas, it can be quite a terrifying effect.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about let's talk about Poison Ivy, because I do think as well, coming as like a queer woman on the show, and I do think like that is also a big part of why I love this movie, and like
one of our greatest drag queens ever on cinema.
Exactly, like, and just the costume is so stunning. The vibes are immaculate. Like, do you guys even remember thinking that she was like cool or hot, or you were just like, fuck this movie?
It
like,
doesn't, it really doesn't, it does
doesn't
not
translate for dudes.
It doesn't translate as hot. It really does translate as like a gay man's, like interpretation of what a hot woman should be. Like, I think,
which
like,
it is.
Like, which is like a really hot drag queen. Like, you know, I'm like, yeah, like for sure. Like, it's just it's so campy. And the outfits are so like, you know, over the top that like, yeah, like Uma, who I do think is, you know, a very good, very attractive actress. Like it's just become something else.
It's so funny because
Kill Bill Volume 1, Volume 2, maybe the greatest female performance in cinema. Like I put her in the top 10 of greatest emotional performances.
Yeah,
no, just
I really like the part where she's like has to move her toes so she doesn't.
Yeah, all the toe acting is amazing.
The total ride that she goes through
she's incredible.
in those films.
She's
absolutely
incredible.
incredible. And I could not love her more. Like the least sexy thing in this movie. Like I can't
That's
believe
so funny.
Thing, but
for so many women, like young women, it was just
Yeah.
such a big. I think because one, it is also again like we talked about this with Gone Girl. She has a good for her style arc in the first part of this movie. A guy is abusive to her. He's trying to do this kind of crazy. Like experiments, he wants to, you know, presume some ownership over her, and she gets to come back. So I think as a kid, it's like a very early version of that archetype of like the kind of vengeful woman.
I do want to say about that though, it is an interesting kind of trenchant commentary on green leftist politics because like
ecofascism.
Like it is like sort of like the movie is in dialogue with like the people throwing cans of soup on paintings, right? As like, you know, as kind of like, you know, I
think it's like more in dialogue with like the white vegan idea of like all humans should die rather than maybe we should speak to native people and see how they would run the land or whatever. You know, it's definitely she has that mentality where you can't really back her. But also the other thing I want to talk about with the movie is like she's also just like randomly horny. Like once the venom gets to her, like she's just trying to hook up with everyone. She's kissing them with her poison lips. Like it's so interesting to see like the evil and the sexuality as always like going together like that.
And her superpower is essentially like an aerosolized version of Blue Chew. Like she, like, you know,
oh
like,
my God!
Like, you know, that is
quickly do an ad read.
This episode, Batman and Robin, 1997, is brought to you by aerosol.
Specific aerosol. No, I mean you're right. Her power is. Have you guys ever? Did you guys ever see a TV show, a British TV show called Misfits?
Nope.
No.
Oh, can't recommend
is that
it
a
enough.
Superhero? Is that the superhero one? I did watch it.
Okay, so it's
very,
basically
very fun.
Kids. It's like Asperger's kids,
school,
which is antisocial behavioral disorder.
Yeah.
Like kids who have basically on community service, they get caught in a storm and they get superpowers, but it's super bleak. It's very Skins-esque, lots of cursing. It was made by Channel 4. It's amazing. One of the girls in that called Alicia, actually, interestingly, so I'm starting to realize maybe someone was a fan of this movie. She ends up, her power is anytime a man touches her, he just wants to fuck her, and it's like the worst power. But it's really interesting because it's this much more violent, less sexy version of what we see here. And I had never really put two and two together. But yeah, I mean, I cannot recommend that show enough. Also, I just want to say, I love the Discord because you could not believe how much they're popping off about this bisexual lighting. They've got so many examples.
So many examples.
They've got so many examples.
This Discord was made for one thing. It is to catalog bisexual lighting.
Literally.
It's finally reached its final revelation. All right, so I want to just jump in and just call out my frustration with how the series has fallen since Batman '89. Okay, and I just want to lay out a couple things here that are
video essay time.
This is a real MAGA take. It's like we live in a fallen world and we must restore. We must return.
I'll do rebuttal.
Okay, listen, great. This is a great episode.
In Batman 89, the font was designed by Anton Furst.
The font,
oh my God, okay, typeface.
So when I saw the font for this, and I know it's the same font that they did for Batman Forever, but like the font looks like shit compared to
this really is
how...
like the buildings need to have more columns in order to recall the glorious Greco-Roman past.
All right. We
must all read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations and reflect on this.
Come on,
keep going. What else do you have besides the font?
The toys. So we've referred to this a couple times. Anton Furst designed the Batmobile, designed the look of Gotham City, which is so cool. And the idea of setting Batman in kind of like at the 30s,
like an Art Deco inspired.
All the Art Deco, like the design of it was part of what made it so amazing. Even on the Batman the Animated Series,
True.
They continue the timeless look that is so good.
Steampunky.
Here, this is on record. The toy company fucking faxed designs to the set and said, here's the Batmobile, here's Freeze's car, here's what the suit for is going to look like for this and that. Like, this is corporate. Like,
are we sure George wasn't doing that during Jedi?
No, he was. But I was gonna say, like, this is also what gave you like most of the ships that you like in Star Wars.
Exactly.
Like, there's another way of it. Like, that was happening during Star Wars. That shit was being designed by Empire.
Joe
They're
Johnston
designed
the Millennium Falcon on his own.
Funny.
Kenner did not.
No, but when it was
hilarious
by
bit.
Empire, there's fucking ships that have like handles on them because they were fucking designed to be toyetic and to carry fucking toys. Like, this happens in movies. But I will say, I will share one frustration that's typography adjacent-ish, right?
Okay.
I think the biggest issue with this entire franchise, the last movie should have been called Batman and Robin because that's when Robin is introduced, and this movie should have been called Batman Forever. I just never. That's my biggest issue.
That's good.
With the franchise as it is. Anyway, continue. H. More complaints, please. Because also, can I just say, I bet you love those fucking Christopher Nolan movies because they didn't make no fucking toys. They said, "Fuck a kid. This is not for kids. You ain't getting a toy. You're getting nothing."
I like the first 2/3 of Batman Begins, and I love Dark Knight. Dark Knight, but not Rises. Rises to me is really bad. I was trying to actually figure out. I think I have to put Rises above Batman and Robin.
Incorrect. That's an insane take. Rises is. So, I enjoy Rises.
Swear to me.
I enjoy Rises because there is some crazy bad shit in it, like the Talia al Ghul death scene. Like,
the best.
It's so bad, but like. I think that this holistically
Catwoman is great in it, and Bane is kind of great in it.
Catwoman is great. I really love the sequence with her knocking, where she knocks down his cane and kind of takes him. I thought that the way they designed the kind of grounded goggles that go up that look like it, I thought that was really cool. But like, this to me, holistically as a movie, I guess. So I'm different than most people and most critics. That's why I don't do as many reviews, but anymore. Like, I used to be a prolific reviewer at IGN, but I don't really like rating stuff. I can't really grade like on a curve in the same way. Like, I can't be like, oh, Parasite's a 5-star movie to me. So like, how does Batman and Robin compare? I mean, comparatively, artistically, it's obviously nothing like Parasite, but in its own holistic space, this is a great Batman movie for kids. Like, that to me, it has like worth, whereas something like The Dark Knight Rises, that's just a badly made movie that doesn't really have an audience. Like, it was like but this, you can still show this to a kid and a kid's like, this looks cool as shit. Like, that's kind of I think explains a lot of why my taste often don't like always align with people on like what quality is, because I see it kind of more that way.
I can't show Sam the Batman 2022 until he's 16 or something.
Oh, yeah.
It's so violent.
I came out of that movie and was like, I told so many people I knew with kids, I was like, you can't let them watch that. I was like, I think you can do it if you don't. I think the first 10 minutes where the Riddler is stalking the people in the house before he kills them, that is really what sets it up to be like almost feel like an R-rated movie. I think if you don't show that and you just start from, you're kind of okay, it's less creepy. I got to see that so early, and I remember that first like 5 minutes, I was like,
it's
what
really
the
scary.
fuck is going on? Like, they really let Matt Reeves go crazy. Also, important news we didn't talk about in Rosie's world and Batman world. Batman 2 confirmed to be set at winter. Matt Reeves shared
Christmas
the first.
movie?
I'm hoping it's a Christmas movie. I interviewed Matt Reeves a long time ago in the lead up to the first Batman movie coming out. He made a show on Amazon that was based on a photo book. It was really interesting. We just connected and he gave me a ton of scoops. And one of them was that his favorite movie, actually, his favorite Batman movie is Batman Returns. Which I think makes a lot of sense when you think about the Batman and a lot of the more, even though Matt thinks that is like a very grounded movie, there is a lot of really hyper stylized crazy shit, like them basically living in like a fucking cathedral and stuff. Yeah. So I think that influence. So yeah, my dream is that the second movie is going to be at least Christmas adjacent, kind of his Batman Returns. A lot of the rumors are saying it's basically going to be like a Mask of the Phantasm riff, and that's who Scarlett Johansson's going to be, which would be again taken from the animation. But yeah, I mean, that Batman movie I think is a fucking masterpiece, but it's not a kid's movie. It's like so far and away from being a kid's movie.
So my last kind of piece, I mean, I'll just say quickly, Bane in his trench coat and hat. I think
it's the most comic accurate. It's the most comic accurate Bane,
right? One of the most comic accurate Banes too. I just want to say, I fucking love that trope so much. Everyone who knows my work knows I love it. RoboCop. I saw him once. He's hiding from his family. He's wearing the hat. He's wearing the trench coat. Raphael, he's wearing the hat. He's wearing the trench coat.
True.
The Thing, he's wearing that. He's wearing the trench coat. And in my Godzilla graphic novel, Monster and Summer Camp, I made sure Minya wore the costume because I was like, that's like my shit. Yeah, Bane,
I did love the Bane practical transformation.
It's really cool.
When the Venom goes in, I thought was really well done. There were some great moments of special effects, and Dykstra was doing the effects. I thought like all of the freezing effects, the freeze rays, like the people getting frozen,
the sets, the people getting frozen and then cracked into pieces really freaked me out as a kid.
Yeah. Just the sets, and again, you were talking about Jason, those shots, those Dutch angles and stuff, but just like those huge sets that they built and panning around with the like the people dancing, and I don't know about auctioning off girls, like that seemed.
I'm gonna tell you something crazy. That shit is such a popular trope in Hollywood. Still goes on. Hallmark movies, they do all those kind of auctioning dates, like mystery movies. I literally was just thinking about this the other day, how it's such a weird trope that is still, especially in context with our sex work conversation, like there's these acceptable ideas.
This was not for a date, though. This was not for a date.
No,
but
that's
heading to the sex dungeon. Like,
this
seemed very...
Yeah, the costumes are pretty crazy.
Yeah, that seemed problematic. Jason, do you want to talk about the music?
I liked it. I liked what was going on from a score perspective. Who did it, Matt? Tell us who did it.
It was Elliot Goldenthal who came in for Batman Forever. For Batman Forever. So this surprised me. They have one of the most iconic scores in history, which is Elfman's Batman. And they're just like, get rid of that. Get rid of that and make something that sounds similar enough that most people won't notice.
One of the worst choices, because to me, that Danny Elfman score, and he's again a very complicated guy in life and in music ship, he steals from himself constantly. But that fucking first Batman '89 soundtrack
went so hard.
And Returns,
went so hard.
That is still to
animated
me,
series,
an animated series. Like just that is Batman. If I read the comics, that's what I'm hearing. If I'm ever blessed enough to get to write Batman, that's the shit that's going to be running through my head. That's the thing, that sound. So I agree with you on that one. I like the music. I think it works with what they were trying to do, but I do think it cheapens the movie in a way that would be less obvious if it still had an Elfman soundtrack.
I've listened to it enough times that I do actually think about this as an iconic Batman score. It's just a crazy idea to me to jettison that. But Jason, you heard it when they go to the techno race with Coolio and like the child punk rocker.
Yeah,
that was Underworld, buddy.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Moaner.
It's really been a couple weeks for Underworld songs on our podcast. We've never done Trainspotting.
Trainspotting.
We've not, right?
I cannot believe we've not done
You've
Trainspotting.
never done Trainspotting. It's good.
It drives me crazy.
Good movie. Ever heard of this?
Well,
oh
my God, I love.
Also, it is a relevant time to be talking about these kind of soundtracks because this doesn't go as hard, but this is like one of my favorite eras of soundtracks, where like Mortal Kombat, the original 1995 one, where everything is like hackers and insane dance, and then that transitions. Obviously, not something I'm sure you guys are a favor of, but The Matrix. But also for me, transitions into Blade in 1998, where it starts to go into like industrial new metal, hardcore, and hip hop. Love that soundtrack, and that is kind of your journey to one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, which is the Queen of the Damned soundtrack, which is a new metal, like peak new metal soundtrack, where they actually hire Jonathan Davis from Korn, but he can't legally sing on it because of his record deal for Korn, so he has to bring in Chester Bennington, Chino Marino from the fucking Deftones, like, so it's this crazy all-out like sing-along, and all the music is actually in the movie because the movie's a musical.
I think I've never seen Queen of the Damned.
That is frankly. Because Queen of the Damned is this is gonna be the new one. I'm sorry, guys. Queen of the Damned was supposed. Never seen it. It was supposed to be a made for TV, a made for home video, direct to home video release, directly following Interview with the Vampire. It came out in 2006, but because it came out just after Aaliyah's sad passing, they put it in movie theaters, and I saw it in movie theaters with my friends. It has Stuart Townsend, I think, is Lestat. He's incredible. He's really funny and sexy.
Aaliyah's
and
death.
It is a peak like Zero's new metal horror, which is like this very specific
genre that lasted for 10 minutes.
I wrote no, surprisingly long. I wrote a article about it actually before Polygon got bought by Valnet recently. I wrote an article there about the history of nu metal in movie soundtracks and nu metal vampires, and kind of how it was coming back, because Beef, the first season, featured Limp Bizkit and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, so and there's been this huge trend on social media of like young beautiful girls dressing up like the Aaliyah character Akasha and doing this dance and stuff. So I got to write a really fun piece about it. But yeah, that kind of
we could do Queen of the Damned the week after Jupiter Ascending.
You're like ever, forever, never.
We'll put it right after that. Well, so two things. During the credits here, speaking of the soundtrack, we have Smashing Pumpkins. Jason, nice to see.
Great.
Won a Grammy this song.
Yeah, and in the video, like Corrigan in the all black, with his big bald head going there.
Big bald head.
But then I'm ready to rest my case, Your Honor. After the Smashing Pumpkins song fades out, the final credit song, Gotham City by R. Kelly.
Oh, a damning indictment.
Look, I'm sorry.
That is a tough one, guys.
Space Jam is a masterpiece, and it still has an R. Kelly song like in the movie.
That's a tough one.
So...
That is a tough one. I didn't realize R. Kelly was on
I never got that far. I don't have good attention. I didn't know.
Okay.
I don't claim him.
Yeah. That is
I
a
missed
tough
this
one.
when
okay.
Go ahead. What do we got?
No, that's it.
Tell me where we are. All right.
Your final point, Jason.
I miss it. It was during the Uma discussion, and I forgot to bring it up. But like Uma Thurman's first line of dialogue in this movie is, "Drat's my experiment to mate the dendronium orchid and the South American rattlesnake have failed again," which is really like, from a tone setting perspective, like it's really telling you where the movie is going. And
That's I do think
ranks up there with the my mother died shortly after hunting spiders in the South.
Legendary. My queen.
That's
my
funny.
Beautiful queen, Madam Web.
I haven't seen it. It might be amazing. I don't know.
Neither.
You know what? It's as I'm a Madam Web supporter, but that is not a movie where I'd be like, let's do it on the podcast, because I think objectively, you could argue it's a bad movie. I also think that it's going to find its audience in teen girl sleepovers. And I do think it has value for that. But it's not I think that, I can argue that this is great adaptation of the Silver Age comics. It is really akin to Batman 66, which, again, this is kind of my last point, I guess, is I think a really important part of this discussion is also it is about those ages and when you experience this stuff, because there's a guy called Michael Uslan. I don't know if you guys know him. He's credited on this movie. He's credited on everything, right? He's basically the guy who got Batman made. He's the guy who got the rights for Batman. He fought for the movie to be made. And all of this was inspired. He's been on X-Ray Vision a couple of times. You can hear him tell the story. He's written a book, The Boy Who Loved Batman. He's great. But all of this was really inspired because he's a hater. When he was a kid, they made Batman 66. He was like 15, I think. He sat down to watch it and he thought, this is a joke. They made a joke of this character who I grew up reading as this cool noir bad guy, like tough dude who would protect Gotham. I'm going to make the real version, right? And I think that a lot of people's responses to this movie were akin to that, where they were like, wait a minute, we're in like a post-Batman 89 world, a post-Dark Knight Returns world, a post-Watchmen world. Like, this was going in a direction that made sense for me with the comics that I was reading and the generation that I grew up in. What is this? And I think, like, even for, like, Michael would go on to become the biggest champion of Batman and all of these different kinds of stories. And I think this is representative of how, like, a lot of people felt about Batman 66 before a generation grew up with it on, you know, syndication and was like, wait a minute, maybe there's something more to this. Maybe it isn't just like stupid for stupid's sake. Like, maybe it's interesting. Right. Maybe it's subversive. It has a black Catwoman. It has, you know, Eartha Kitt. It has these really funny puns. It has, you know, Latino Joker. Like, there's these extra layers to it, right? And I feel like this is something where there's not necessarily extra layers. Like, you're not going to deeply find some thematic thing that's going to, like, speak to you and be like, this is going to change your life. But
you're definitely not.
No, but it is like a memeable, fun, silly, campy take on Batman that I think comes back to this topic that I talk about a lot with people, because obviously I'm a Godzilla guy. And a lot of people are like, well, the American Godzilla movies suck. Like, why are they so bad? Why are they so silly? That has been less so in the last few years because people kind of like this new take, this more kind of sci-fi take that Legendary's been doing. Monarch, even the movie, the Ty West movie, which is the Journey to the Center of the Earth one, which kind of switched up the tone. It had Alexander Skarsgård, and you introduced like the Hollow Earth and stuff. So it's definitely changing. But I would say to people, well, actually the best thing about Godzilla is like you can have both. Like, even old Godzilla, right? There was like the Heisei era stuff the Showa era stuff. There's 1954 Godzilla is a masterpiece. It's like a timely parable about the horrors of nuclear war, about the horrors of colonialism, about the horrors of science and the hubris of man and shit. But then also, like, a few years later, you have like Son of Godzilla, and it's silly and people hate it. But when I was a kid, that was the one that spoke to me. I think Batman has, by being around for over 80 years, and if you add all the animated movies, by probably having, you know, I'd say 20 or 30 movies at this point, I think he has entered into that space of there's enough for everyone. And I think this is one of those things where I'm like, I'm just so glad this exists alongside The Dark Knight. You know, the same way I'm so glad that a 10-year-old can watch Godzilla X Kong New Empire and someone else can watch, a grandpa can watch Godzilla -1, and they can both get something from it. And that is like a kind of constant cycle of exchange between the two. And that is really how I feel about, even for me, like my hottest take about this movie is I think it's better than Batman Forever. That movie just, I never liked it, never hit for me. I don't get the cultural like reconsideration that it's somehow so much better. I think it's way more tonally inaccurate. I think it doesn't hit for me in the same way. But I love that there's
Nicole
like
Kidman is so fucking hot.
I mean,
in that
she's
movie,
so
though.
hot.
I mean,
come on, I will watch any movie for Nicole Kidman. Like, come on. How do you think? That's how I got into Practical Magic. I was like, I don't want to watch this shit, and then I watched it, and I was like, this is incredible, and I love Nicole Kidman. But I think like both can exist basically, and that's what I like about this movie is it's a great example of that.
Well, and I want to give a shout out just as a final thing here. One of the great runs of all time. Obviously, you have Dark Knight Returns, probably the greatest Batman story ever. That and Batman Year One, Frank Miller, just really both capstones of the career eras. But
he's good at working with good artists. David Mazzucchelli and obviously like Lynn Varley and everyone on Dark Knight.
Amazing. But one of the best runs that I have ever read is Grant Morrison's run, where he started way back and had the idea of what if Batman had a new Robin, and that new Robin was his son. And you have this journey that originally was kind of like hated by people, and then over time, people got used to the idea of having Damian. And that leads to a story of Batman R.I.P., and it leads to one of the greatest in my mind, one of the greatest moments of the last couple decades in comics, which is Batman and Robin, the comic, drawn by Frank Quitely, one of the greatest artists.
We love
the
him.
best. But the idea of Batman is dead and Dick Grayson has to pick up the mantle and become Batman.
So good.
It is so fucking good. And Grant wanted to run with it for like 5 years and was forced to undo it over a period of, like a year or something.
Well, that's always the way, right? Like Jean Grey was never meant to come back after she died.
But it was incredible. Yeah. It was such a great moment of Dick, who's been waiting his whole career to become Batman, and then he gets the chance to become Batman. Really, really a fantastic book, and people should definitely check that out.
I'm a big Grant Morrison head, obviously. I love Grant. They're a true legend. Also, I would say that's going to be allegedly a huge influence on the James Gunn Batman, that specific story. But also, I want to say, I think that could also be something we're going to see in the Batman too, because when I saw the Batman the first time, after I'd seen it a few months later, they had like a talent thing, and you get to go to Warner Brothers, and they show the movie again, and they have the Robert and everyone on the lot. And Robert Pattinson was there. It was my first time seeing him in real life. Obviously, a huge moment for me. Zoe Kravitz was there. Matt Reeves was there. But Rob said something that was very. He was like, "I wouldn't do Robin unless the kid was like 10." And Matt was like, "Okay, well, da-da-da." But there have been casting calls for like a 13-year-old for the movie. And I think that there is a version.
That's kind of fun.
I don't think it's going to be Damien. I think you have to start with Dick, right? I don't think it's going to. But I do think there's a version where this could be the first movie where we actually see him with a kid. And like, what does that mean in this very brutal, scary world? And like, how does that change who he is? I would love to see that shit. Because you're right. That is like the most interesting stuff. And really, read anything by Grant. Grant's like a genius. Grant's JLA is amazing. On the other side of the aisle, Grant's X-Men is amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
These are, as I'm usually fairly quiet during Comic Book Corner, but I have actually read Grant. I mean, something. I've read X-Men. The thing, Rosie's saying about like, I'm glad this exists, that, it could show it exists for different audiences. Like, it kind of brings me back to the Star Wars conversation from the beginning, which is like, it's interesting to imagine what like the Star Wars universe would look like with this like degree of play in it, where you're like, like we're gonna make like a really gay campy Star Wars, like, just like we're gonna let someone like take a crack at that, and like and it, maybe it kills like maybe it kills something for a while, but where it wasn't so concerned about like policing tone, like to be, relentlessly consistent with what people were expecting.
Yes. I agree.
There's a creative freedom there that I wish the Enterprise had.
Okay, I also do just want to say this is going to be a tease, because I think it comes out. When is this going to go up?
This comes out Sunday.
Oh, okay, no, it's fine, because I think it will be out by the time this comes out. So.
Rosie is writing a gay campy Star Wars.
I fucking wish. No, speaking of Disney projects that you're going to be talking about, I just want to be early on here to say, like, I cannot wait to see the discourse and conversation around that Punisher special, because I have I monkey paused myself into this one, because I have been begging for them to do like shorter, cheaper things.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it like. My tease review, I'm going to be writing about it very extensively in my newsletter. I already have, but like it leans into all the worst Punisher tropes in a way that I think is like horrific right now. I think it's kind of shocking Disney's putting it out. But again, all things exist for all different people, so I'm trying not to go too censorship heavy.
Like Ice is a hero. Like Ice is
like first 20. No, more less like that. Thank goodness, it's not that as objective. And now it's out. I can talk about it. So like, for me, the issue with the show, first 20 minutes, incredible. John Bernthal, he's great as Frank. It's very much about his struggles with PTSD. Last 20 minutes is like the raid in a New York projects building, but not directed by Gareth Evans, about Silat, but just a white guy with a gun.
Right.
I thought it's like Looney Tunes level gory, Looney Tunes level action, crazy gory. It's easily the goriest studio project I think a big studio will put out this year. But like, it's basically your mileage may vary. I love the raid. I love The Night Comes for Us. I love violent action movies, but after like 10 minutes of John Bernthal just shooting people in the head with a shotgun, I was like, this is not for me. Oh no, dude. Yeah. It's the last 20 minutes.
And this is so coming out on Disney Plus?
Violent.
It's on Disney Plus.
I'm telling you, this is the craziest thing. The last 20 minutes are so violent. There is a moment, and again, pro this part, because it's very like, they try and be like, he's killing all kinds of people. So there's a part where he kills someone who's very obviously like white supremacist coded. It's like a 2.5, no, probably like a 30-second scene, but it felt longer, of him just stabbing this guy with a fork all over his body, in his neck, blood pissing everywhere in front of a child. And this is going to be on Disney Plus next to like fucking Mandalorian and Grogu. Like, the fact
next
this is
to Zootopia?
Next to Zootopia 2! Like, and Zootopia 2 has better politics than this special.
Man, we're deep.
It's going to be crazy.
I've seen Zootopia 2 approximately 40 times in the last like
that's your
10
role
days.
as a dad. Sorry.
Yeah,
nice.
I've seen that movie a lot.
Thank you for taking the hit on that. I did think it was surprising that the Punisher One Last Kill has the cinematographer from There Will Be Blood, Nightcrawler, Punch Drunk Love. Robert Elswit.
And believe me, that shit looks really good. My bigger issue is
I believe it.
Bring an action choreographer who can be equivalent to that and do something. I think in a post John Wick world, if you're going to do guns, you have to do gun fu.
You have to do it.
You have to do gun fu. It can't just be like you're running around just shooting people in the head with multiple different guns. And I mean, the crazy thing to me is like, there's like, he cuts a guy's throat. He cuts a guy's throat with an axe in real time while the guy is eating a woman out. And it goes all over her face. And
on Disney Plus?
Dude, it's crazy. I seriously feel like I feel like this does not come out if the MCU is successful. That's like that's my feeling.
Check it out, people.
Guys, I want to know your thoughts. Because also a lot of people I know who love the Punisher, who love the old school comics, they feel like it's really good. Like it works for them. Like this is what they wanted. It does. I'm old. I don't even like. I get scared by like a Saw movie now. I used to be a gore hound, but that's not my way anymore.
No. We're in a different bracket now.
Exactly.
All right, quickly, because the people have to speak still. Jason, who would Tilda Swinton play?
Could crush it as Bane. Pretty clearly. I mean, like Tilda under the mask would be pretty strong, and I think she could really do something magical there.
I'm going with Freeze. I'm going with Freeze. Like let's get her as the real emotional heart. Get rid of all the lines and just have her do it straight.
I'm going with Bane. Great. What do you say? Rosie?
I don't know if it would be perfect for this movie, but I would just like to see it. So I'm just going to say, I want to see Tilda as Batman. Like, just be Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
She could play Bruce Wayne. No changes needed. Same script, everything else. But like that cool, cold, almost like American Psycho Christian Bale style Bruce Wayne. You know, she's definitely much more disconnected and I think less suave. But you know she gets shit done, and you understand why she's a billionaire. Like I could see it 100%.
That's great.
The only good billionaire.
Yeah, right.
All right, guys, can we do some quick voicemails?
Let's go.
All right. This is, obviously the person who was most instrumental in breaking down my will over the course of the last several years. Well, not you, Rosie.
No, I know. That's why I'm thanking them.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Hello, Bogpod. Hey, Bogpod. Hello, Bogpod. Hey, Bogpod. Hello, Bogpod. Hey, Bogpod. Bogpod.
All right, guys. Let's hear Ethan.
It's Ethan time. It's time.
Hey, guys. I didn't have any time to record. Like, I was going to do a super high production value celebratory VM, and then I ran out of time. So you're getting the Streets of Sydney report. I have two points and a question. Point number one is that I rewatched Batman and Robin for the first time in my life for maybe 13 years after like making like a nearly monthly pilgrimage to it as my first and only Batman movie between the ages of 7 and 10.
Amazing.
And
similar.
Listen, you need to understand that I came into this movie disconnected from all the culture that existed around it, right? Like the previous sequels didn't exist in my mind because I was a 7-year-old. And I love this movie. I rewatched it as an adult. I love this movie.
Oh, good.
Genuine affection for it.
Yeah,
good.
Same.
I think it's a formative film for me. The third act is a bit clunky and you can tell that they ran out of money and time. But I think that he's going for something and he's doing it, and everyone else is just being boring and dumb, and that's what this. I just feel very strongly about it. Let's kick some ice.
Let's kick some ice.
Here are the following. The following films are as good as Batman and Robin, and you're all too cowardly to admit it. The Never-Ending Story.
Love that movie.
Legend.
Legend. Love that movie.
Demolition Man. Judge Dredd.
Fair.
Excalibur.
I think that's
fair.
fair.
Question. This is, in my opinion, I have an insane belief in my gut that this is the closest we will ever get to what a Werner Herzog Batman movie would look like.
Oh, that makes sense. I buy that theory.
Question
That's a
made
great
for
theory.
me.
I know that's an insane statement to say. What do you think a Werner Herzog Batman movie would look like, and would it look like Batman and Robin? Lots of love. Goodbye.
That's a great question.
Wow, this is like my dream question. I love Werner Herzog. So
Klaus Kinski as Bruce Wayne.
no, throw him in the trash. He's dead. He's dead. He's a dead old man. No, I love this take. I love Ethan. I love the support that he was able to bring to make this happen. I also
it's like
feel
he
like
led a movement.
that he led a movement in the Discord for real. I actually think if Werner Herzog was doing a Batman movie, I would love to see him do it. There's a really fun, I think it's from like 2008. He did a movie called The Incident at Loch Ness, which was like a parody of him making a documentary about Loch Ness, directed by a different director. It's really funny. I think I would like to see Werner do he's making a documentary about Batman. What makes this strange fellow tick? Why does he dive into the dive of his psychosis to dress like a bat and go out on the streets at night? You know, I love him. I would like to see
Just
that
full on
version.
documentary.
It's like a fake documentary, but that's the approach I would want Werner to take for sure.
That's pretty strong. I think Werner, it would be more like the all the villains die, the heroes die, but like the plants win. It's basically like the version, it's like the Poison Ivy version, that she wants. She everything, no humans survive, but the plants win. Is my take on it.
I love it. Ethan, I hope we
love you.
did justice.
I hope you did justice. We gave it a fair reading, I feel.
Thank you. I hope I was able to fight for you.
You were a heroic warrior for truth.
All right. Here is our next voicemail.
Baby, this is Lizen.
We knew Lizen would
we
have
knew
something
Lizen
to
would be
say.
here.
Here we go.
Yay!
Hi, friends. This is Lizen. As part of the Vanguard, who has been begging for Escape Hatch to cover this seminal classic, this epitome of filmmaking, this absolutely perfect film made with love and laughter. Thank you. I'm so glad we're here. And all my love to Rosie.
Yeah,
we used to be a society. We used to make movies like this. What happened? I mean, the actual answer is this movie happened and it somewhat factory reset the culture. And now all of our superheroes are boring, sexless Ken dolls. Films these days are afraid of eroticism, artifice, and joy. So let us honor this darling camp film for the excellence that it provides. Now, what I hate about this movie, of course, is as I'm very close to Alicia Silverstone's age, and there was just a cacophony of voices saying that she, an absolutely gorgeous woman, was fat.
Yep.
I have great nostalgia for the late 1900s, but man, we were cruel to women, and it really made the early 2000s an eating disorder horror show. God bless. But to end on a high note, really thank you. Thank you again. I know H is absolutely miserable, so thank you for your service, sir, to this community and to bringing a fresh light to this fantastic film. Thank you for covering Batman and Robin. XOXO, Lizen.
Woo! We love you, Lizen.
Woo! Great voicemail.
I am not suffering. I am happy that people are happy. That's all I want.
Hey, Matt's a people pleaser.
That was somebody who really didn't want to say that. He was like, I'm just happy if my children
That's
are
like
happy.
That's like your mom on like Christmas, like after she's been like up since 4 a.m. Like
I love my socks. Thank you, darling.
Thank you, Lizen, so much. Here is our next voicemail.
This is your brother, Animal Mother.
Hey.
Do it.
Holy uncanny photographic mental processes. Holy ice skates. Holy floor covers. Holy escape hatch. Holy reincarnation.
A holy escape hatch.
Match cleaner. Holy pressure cooker. Holy triple feature. Holy kindergarten. Holy molars. Holy Wayne Manor. Holy puzzlers. Holy fuck.
Hello, animal friends and animals. Don't you sometimes miss when Batman was allowed to be stupid?
Yes.
Of course, Bruce Wayne is a mensch, but he's also a fucked up nepo baby, eager to curb stomp the world as a coping mechanism / community organizing plan. Remove the orphan tinted glasses and the goofy side of Bruce might also be his healthy one. No one can deny the badassery of a stone-cold one-man army, but honestly, his nemesis is a carnival geek, his fling a klepto-neko girl, his confidant a 1,000-year-old John Cleese bit, and his brother-in-arms a Cirque du Soleil little urban achiever. There's plenty of room for delicious trash here, so let's just enjoy a visit to the dumbest version of Gotham, with its Jummy Mummy Venus flytrap, Arnold's rapid-fire ice puns, and a banking industry that issues credit cards to vigilantes just for shit and giggles. Think of Tom Hardy's big dopey Bane accent. You know, in your heart, I'm telling the truth. All right, everyone, chill. Who would you cast today as an Adam West / George Clooney style Cape Crusader? Thank you all. See you at the jungle-themed escort auction. I get the change of 50 animals.
That's really good. Good question. Good question.
I mean, I still remember how struck I was when they had the first shot of Arpats with the mask off and the black eye stuff.
You love that?
Like coming down. I
so
was like,
bricked up.
this,
So bricked
I was
up.
like,
Yeah,
this is the
that shit was
this is
like
the
so
coolest,
fucking cool, man.
It's the coolest fucking shit for them to finally acknowledge what they've been doing all these years, but to make it central.
Wearing
to,
makeup. That's important.
Yeah. Like, that was fucking awesome. That's a good question. Who is a good who would be a
What
good
about
Batman?
Cyril
Like-
Karn? Cyril Karn.
I could see
Like,
that.
I feel he could do like the campy bit. Like,
I would say
pretty
like
well.
Glenn Powell. He could probably
Oh.
do like a kind of Adam West-ish sitch.
Many options.
Many options. Robert, keep going. Like, Robert, get that bag.
Yeah, right. We
Um,
love him. Our king.
Let's keep going. All right, here we go. Here is our next voicemail. Mr. Java. I cannot wait to see what this is.
Wow,
Nice.
bless.
Here we go, and we're somehow trapped on this rocket to space. Oh, well, I guess we'll have to use this bat stuff to escape. Oh, I yelled cowabunga for real. But did you know that dinosaurs are killed by the ice age? My nipples are frozen so stiff. Ivy, I cannot help but want a kiss from your poison lips.
True.
It's a good thing I'm wearing this rubber lipstick. And now that girl is here, I'm fine if she kicks you in the face. Oh, yeah.
Stunning.
That was great.
This one goes out to Rosie. And you two fellas, we love you. If you had a really strange injury or disability or something terrible happen to you, what would it be? And how would you make that your entire personality as a supervillain?
Oh, that's great.
Okay, this is actually great because I was supposed to
Listen.
I was supposed to talk about this earlier. I currently have been diagnosed with spinal stenosis, which means that parts of my spine are shrinking or something,
Yeah.
and it's crushing my nerves. It fucking sucks. My right arm is in agony at all times. But I am being treated entirely for free because I am on Medi-Cal, the Californian. If you are under a certain wage, you can access it after you do your taxes, and everything is free at the point of service. There is no charges for pharmacies or doctors or ERs. So I think
Are you saying single payer can work?
It can work. And not just that, California already has the infrastructure to do it. So if I would be Stenosia. And I would be like,
Stenosia is so good.
Stenosia. And I would be like, with my little fucked up neck brace that I've been having to wear out to keep my spine separated.
That's great.
And I would be forcing all the corporations to do single payer healthcare.
That's great. I love that you're getting the treatment you need. That's great. And I love Stenosia. It's very, very strong.
Stenosia is pretty good, right?
Griffin almost had, I don't know about me, but Griffin almost had a supervillain origin story this morning, which was he was like kind of screwing around during breakfast time, and he does this where he's sitting on the chair and he falls out of the chair a bunch, like sort of half because he's like
doing a bit
sometimes on purpose. But this morning he fell and like nearly impaled his eyeball on like the straw of his drinking cup.
No!
And like it really hurt him. And it was like a real scary couple moments there. So he could have been a little pirate for a minute. But luckily he is fine. Yeah.
Glad he's
Shout
fine.
out to him. Shout out to Griffin for being fine.
Robot eye
yeah.
replacement. Yeah. For some reason, something about like some sort of accidentally get my styling paste infused with some kind of magic from previous century, and so I just become the hair.
Christ.
Oh, I like
that.
that. That's great.
Like,
Kind of
and
like
it-
Medusa from the Inhumans. Like you got prehensile hair, you can control it. I love that.
It just shoots out radiating
hair.
mind control by like the hair. The hair looks good. Make it happen. Thank you so
Thank you much, Mr. Java. That was
Java.
incredible.
That was great.
Here is our next voicemail. The truth sayer. Cool. Nope. Here we go. All right.
Well, here we are, Truth Sayer number 150 for simultaneously the greatest and worst movie of the 90s.
Bless.
Joel Schumacher's entry into the pod canon, Batman and Robin. I'm not going to talk about the puns or the nipples or the chewing of scenery or the plot holes or the wooden performances or the neon henchman masks or the puns. I'm going to talk about the man that paved the way for Ludacris to make $100 million in the Fast and the Furious franchise. That's right. Coolio. For some reason, Coolio shows up to start the motorcycle race and delivers one of the standout acting performances in the film. For today's Truth Sayer, we're going to look at 3 of Coolio's 66 acting credits on Letterboxd and ask the question, which of these 3 films currently ranks lowest in average rating? Time for the Truth Sayer.
Wow.
Number 1. Dracula 3000 from 2004, a futuristic Dracula movie with Coolio, Erika Eleniak, and Casper Van Dien as Van Helsing. And
What?
Wow.
I love
Number 2,
Casper Van
Leprechaun in the
Dien.
Hood from 2000. Yes, it's what you would expect with Coolio, Ice-T, and Warwick Davis in the title role. Or number 3, Batman and Robin. You know, the one we all just watched. Which of those 3 Coolio vehicles currently ranks lowest in average rating on Letterboxd?
I gotta say, I recently watched that first movie, and I'm sure I logged it on my Letterboxd. I love Casper Van Dien. I'll watch anything with him in it. Not great. I think it's on Tubi. I would be pretty certain that would be the lowest ranked, but if Batman and Robin is lower ranked, that's just people being haters, because that is like a made-for-TV, like CGI, really bad, but also like really fun trash movie. But I do feel I feel like I'm cheating because I watched it recently, so I know the quality is far lower than the other 2 movies.
I'm gonna go with Batman and Robin.
Letterboxd do hate it, so
definitely. Jason?
Yeah, I'm gonna assume it's Batman and Robin. Just like I think he's making a point here. But also, shout out, this is the 150th
That's crazy. I'm honored.
100. That's insane that we've
out
had
of
this
three
many.
out of 306.
It's
like,
insane that we've had this many, and we're just fortunate to have, regardless of who is right this week. We're fortunate to have Birya.
We are so lucky
producing this content, and Mr. Java and Animal Mother and Liz and
everybody.
Corey and Kev and Ethan. Everyone.
The voice note love that goes into these is like so
it's
incredible.
so great. And if you're listening and you want to send us a voicemail, everyone started with one voicemail. You don't have to
letters at escapehatch.pod.com.
This could be, as many people have found, your pathway to a multi-million-dollar Hollywood contract.
Definitely true. Definitely true. I got to start doing more voicemails so I can get one of those contracts.
Yes.
There you go. All right, let's find out.
All right, which of the 3 movies currently is the lowest rating on Letterboxd? It's number 1, Dracula 3000, with a 1.6 rating over 4,700 entries on Letterboxd. I'm just going to read the top comments about this movie.
I might be one of
Dirk
them.
H. The one where Dracula takes his dentures out, hides them in a teapot, and forgets where he ever put them because he's a demented git.
That does happen. That does happen.
Batman and Robin, with its robust 1.9 Letterboxd rating over 330,000 entries, comes out of this contest clean.
Wow.
Thank you for your service, Coolio. Here ends the Truth Sayer.
Wow.
If I hadn't have recently watched Dracula 3000, then I would not have known that, but I had a feeling.
I thought it was funny when I was firing up Batman and Robin. It has an 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's like,
Which is also like, I would love to read somebody else do this because I'm not a data-minded person, but I would be so interested to look at like the kind of difference in how that data looks because of how few reviews there were back then compared to how there are now and stuff, because there are a lot of older movies on there. I mean, that's why they have Certified Forgotten and they do the podcast and everything. There's a lot of stuff on there that I think is like legitimately great and not like an objective controversial thing that has bad reviews, because there was like 5 reviewers and 3 of them didn't like it. So but I mean this movie having 11 on Rotten Tomatoes is kind of a miracle. I think now, like it surprising it's not lower.
By the way, R.I.P. to Rex Reed, who died yesterday. Just an absolute legend. I used to grow up reading his reviews back in the 70s and 80s, and just seeing him on TV. He was really funny and just had a great energy.
Legend.
R.I.P. to him. Jason, you were going to say?
I mean, it also at the time was a movie I feel would have been very hard to like champion, just because like
definitely
it like makes you have to make an affirmative case for like sort of queer camp culture in 1997.
Which in
and
1997
be like,
and a cash grab.
not a thing. And the cash grab, and it's and also as well, even back then, if you look at 89, there was still so much of a fandom culture that like in fan magazines and stuff, people hated the Michael Keaton casting, right? So like there was still a conversation going on. So there was that conversation about it being a cash grab, about this push towards toyetic toys. We know that was an issue with Batman Batman Returns. I have the McDonald's toys they made for that movie because it's just so surreal that they even made them. You know, it's kind of the same way they made a Rambo cartoon and a RoboCop cartoon so they could toyify them, you know? So I think you're right, Jason. That's a great point. Like, because it's not like those conversations weren't happening just because the internet didn't exist. Like, there was a lot of reasons for people to not like this movie. And I do think that it comes out better, you know, almost 30 years later or whatever it is.
For sure. For sure. All right, here is our next voicemail.
Hello, Escape Hatch. It's Kev here. This week we're talking about Joel Schumacher's misunderstood Batman and Robin, a movie that, my truth, I have never seen.
Love that.
Much like Star Wars at the time, like summer '97, I was reading storybooks and playing with action figures. I don't think it ever came together that my dad would take me to this movie. I think Hercules was that summer, and that was kind of the big... Anyway.
Oh, I love Disney's Hercules.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia, but I remember hearing this. At the time, they were really pushing for the film to be more toyetic, right? We need all these different things to make toys because Star Wars was raking in the cash. And all these other franchises. I had Batman Forever toys up the wazoo and Batman and Robin toys as well. So there's that. But I'm also seeing that Schumacher was inspired by the comic books he read when he was a kid, which are campy and silly and fun. And these movies, these two, remind me a lot of the Bill Dozier Batman, which is my favorite. So Kev's question, I'm wondering, what were the comic books you were reading as kids, if any? Are you into comic books? Could you read comic books again? Thoughts on that? H, I'm wondering how the X-Men journey is going with Sam, because it's been a minute since I heard about that. If you mentioned it recently, I'm sorry. Peace and love to all, and I'll talk to you all very soon.
What a layup question.
Once again, it's Kev's questions. So I mean, I've talked about it. I remember reading like Justice League and Superman and Batman comics that I would get at the 7-Eleven off the spinner rack. And then by the time I was 11, 12, I was reading John Byrne, Chris Claremont, X-Men. So like that was just amazing. And then into the 80s Swamp Thing and, all the Frank Miller stuff, the Daredevil runs.
Yeah, you were never primed to like this movie. You were grim and grittied up. You'd been there for the 87 kind of change shift.
I was born in the darkness.
Yeah, but I didn't need the grim dark. I wasn't like obsessed with that. And I kind of, after year one and like year two, I kind of dropped off reading those Batman comics and was more on X-Men and then onto Image and Wildstorm and that stuff. So like, but for sure, as a kid, reading those early, Superman comics from the 70s and reprints of stuff that were from the 50s and 60s, just really fun, kind of like fluffy science fiction stuff that was really
That's
enjoyable.
the good shit.
I do not have a very youthful history with comics, so I will pass to Rosie.
Oh, I mean, no surprises if you've listened to me before or on X-Ray Vision. I read a lot of comics. At this time, I was probably reading mostly X-Men, I think, like when I was like 8 or 9. But definitely, like, I had read everything you could get at that point from a library. So I'd already read Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns, and I'd read a lot of manga and stuff. So I just think that I'd watched like Batman 66 was on syndication. So I just think I was primed to enjoy this. But yeah, I mean, I still read comic books every day. I still read superhero comics. At the moment, I'm reading the Absolute series. I love that stuff. Absolute Batman's great. Absolute Green Lantern. Absolute Green Arrow.
I love
is just about to drop. I mean, Nick
Dragotta's East of West is like, it's such a great
Nick
series.
Nick Dragotta's just like, what a legend. Like, I've got like an art crush on him. His art is like so unbelievable. Yeah. Like, he's so good.
That's amazing.
Absolute Wonder Woman. I mean, all of those are great. Like, Marvel's about to launch this horror line with Marvel Midnight, but I also read a lot. I feel like a lot of people from Escape Hatch would enjoy, like, if you're not really a comics person usually, check out this publisher called Drawn and Quarterly. They're more traditionally like a book publisher, but they publish a lot of like old, unpublished indie comics and mangakas from the 80s who were never published before, and like history of Japanese ghosts in comics, and just like really cool, esoteric, beautiful art. They have an incredible book coming out soon, Charity and Sylvia, I think it's called, by Tilly Walden, who I adore, who did a series of Walking Dead comics recently, based on the video games, the Telltale video games, called Clementine. But also she is like a multi-award winning like prodigy. I don't even think she's 30 yet. She's had multiple best-selling books like Spinning and stuff. But Charity and Sylvia is actually based on a true historical lesbian couple in Vermont in like the 1800s. And it's just like a real life, day-to-day slice of life about how they lived. And Tilly lives in Vermont and is a lesbian and has done a lot of research on it. And I read it and it just totally blew me away. It's like, it's just really great, gorgeous sequential art. So yes, I'm always still reading comics, guys. You guys can always ask me for recs. I love to rec people.
Thanks, it's another great example of something where you can have something for everyone in that form. All right, here is our final voicemail, and I'm sure it won't be controversial. Cool.
3. Rosie, hey, this is Corey calling from Austin, Texas, about Batman and Robin from 1997. What? Joel Schumacher. Okay, now, it's no secret I've had a contentious relationship with superhero movies for my entire life, right?
Interesting.
Like, especially
I had no idea
once they really started coming out hot and heavy. some are too silly, some are just fucking too serious, some are way too fucking long and redundant and blah, 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 blah. But every once in a while, a great one comes along or a good one comes along. And at the time when this came out, I had zero fucking interest in this movie. I was way against it. Too stupid. I was too cool for school. And it took me years. It took me years to fucking open up to this movie. And I even loved the original Batman TV series. I grew up with that shit. It's silly fun. I don't know why I was against it. Like I said, I was just too cool for my own good. Much like some other people I know.
Indictment!
Anyway,
Indictment!
Fucking cool and learn how to really just take in Schumacher's vision and love it and enjoy it. It's fun.
I love
silly,
you, Corey.
It's stupid. So lots of really goofy shit going on, but it's never boring. It looks great. And it's all about the villains, right? Like Uma has never been sexier. I don't think she's sexier in Kill Bill. I don't think she's sexier in anything else she's done. This is it.
Thank you, Corey.
Poison
Thank
Ivy
you.
is perfect. She's awesome. I love her so much. Cartoon Bane is fucking fantastic. He's even better than Mr. Freeze. I love this Bane with the fucking fedora and the trench coat and all the ridiculousness. He's so good. I love that character so much in this movie. Arnie's great. He's just doing his shtick. The makeup is fucking fantastic on him. All the armor's cool. The whole Gotham looks great. It's wild and weird and
God, I love
fucking fun.
this. Corey's back, baby. He's back.
Fun.
If you hate fun, like some people,
I don't know, Rosie. I know you love fun, and I know you
Thank
probably
you.
love this movie.
Correct, Corey.
Thank you for your service.
Thanks
for making this happen. I know there have been multiple attempts behind the scenes to try to kill this fucking pick. Fuck that. Democracy has prevailed.
Democracy.
The people have spoken, and the people have won. Thank fucking God.
I'm an advocate for the people, Corey. You know how it is.
And I'll talk to you next week. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll have to talk to some fucking stick in the mud. Come on, guys. Talk to you next week. Bye.
That's really good.
Oh,
I think
shit. Uma Thurman she would play Gossip Gertie. I know you were thinking I was gonna pick Mr. Freeze's wife, but I'm not. I'm going with Gossip Gertie.
That's great.
Now I'm done. Bye. Love you guys. Bye.
Great voicemail.
Wow,
Great
that's
voicemail.
An iconic voicemail.
Top notch.
I feel so blessed. I've been blessed by a Corey voicemail. Wow.
Yeah. And
congratulations, you guys.
A Corey voicemail and an indictment of a war criminal. It's great. It's great. It's great.
We all have our roles.
A fun
We all
criminal.
have our roles to play in the revolution.
Yeah, exactly.
Rosie, what do you have to plug?
I do have most recently coming up. I have the Adventure Time Pride special coming from Oni Press. It is a 48-page issue by me, the incredible artist Evgenia Varelli, colorist Valentina Pinto, and letterer Sean Lee. It is a Marceline and Bubblegum love story. It features 4 new songs that I wrote.
Oh my God!
Because they wouldn't let me use songs from the film, like the TV shows, contractually in the comics. So I made up 4 new songs, and it's basically like a mixtape of them going on this journey of kind of forgiveness. I have had a very emotional year, so it's a very emotional comic. I feel very lucky. I shared about it on Instagram yesterday. It's definitely my most viral post. It completely popped off. It
That's
also
great.
made my Gen Z people have bullied me now to being on TikTok, so you can find me there too. Rosie Marxing, MARXXING, because somebody had already taken Rosie Marx.
How dare they?
How dare they? So yes, that is, and I'm very excited, and I think the book is really good, and it's coming out soon. And I will have another exciting licensed comic that I can announce probably on my next appearance.
Your next
but yes,
appearance.
this one is coming out June 3rd. You can support your
Louise.
local comic shop and get it, and it's very gay and very romantic. And my dream is that we can actually record the songs, at one point.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
Who would be your ideal recording artist for this?
Well, I would want. So I'm a big
Then would you-
Adventure Time fan.
Yeah.
So Olivia Olson, who plays Marceline, she does a lot of recordings of the songs. I would really my dream would be for her to sing one of the songs. She's an incredible performing artist anyway, and especially with the newer HBO stuff, they've really leaned into how fantastic
make it
she
happen.
is as a singer-songwriter. songwriter. So I'm crossing my fingers. If you also, guys, just as a plug for the show, like if you haven't sat down and watched the entirety of Adventure Time, it is like a fucking masterpiece. It starts off as a very silly, out there, absurdist kids show, but by like the second or third season, you're getting like, there's an entire episode that is just a holy mountain riff. There are episodes that are riffs on Ingmar Bergman. It is true artistry, and it has incredible songs. And by the payoff at the end of the final season is one of the greatest finales of all time. And you get this really deep, kind of heartbreaking story about forgiveness and love, and it's just a really majestic show that I'm shocked exists. So definitely check it out.
Let me say this: Sam and I are watching it, so we're in season 1 right now. But also, he got from the library the compendium, which is like it's like 30 issues or something. Yeah, so he read it multiple times. So that's been amazing.
It transitions to comics in a really fantastic way, and what we're really lucky about is. Now, it used to be at Boom, and it was very much in the space of the show, and it looked the same. Since it moved to Oni, with Caroline Cash, she did this really incredible bubbling, like Princess Bubblegum, Marceline special last October. And now we're allowed to have like a lot more fun with the style. So like they hired Evgenia, and her style is so unique. It's really indie-ish. It's really like very like gothic and vampiric and cutesy. So we're going to have a lot of fun on that side of things. And yeah, I'm so excited you're watching it with Sam. I'm trying. My niece is like 6, so she's a little bit young, but she's really into at the moment, calling me, and we watch Bluey together on WhatsApp. So I'm trying to get her into like an episode swap where like we do like 3 episodes of Bluey, 1 episode of Adventure Time to kind of start seeing if I can tease her into it.
Also, I just subscribed to your publishing that you're doing.
Thank you. My newsletter, which by the way, some of the patrons are like the paid patrons are actually Escape Hatch listeners, my crew. So thank you.
We love that.
I appreciate you guys. It's called Tinfoil Hat. It's a relaunched version of my Substack. I moved away from Substack because of the many issues.
Fuck those guys.
And now I can actually make money, which I never made money on Substack because I didn't want to give them money. So it's at Ghost, which I have found to be a really fantastic
people
platform.
like Ghost.
So it's tinfoilhat.ghost.io. You can subscribe for free. If you subscribe for free, you can read all the articles on there. You can also access my whole archive of articles. If you pay $5 or above, you get a free monthly physical zine, and there are also
give Rosie
other
money.
Things. You can give me money.
Give Rosie money.
It's a place that I can just write whatever I want. So, for example, there's not many outlets that would probably want to run like a very critical article about that Punisher site unless you're already a staff writer and you have protections and you like work at Vulture or something. But I can just write whatever I want on my newsletter. So I've been really enjoying highlighting stuff I've been loving, books, TV, stuff like that. I did a piece that was really nice about Static Shock coming on Tubi that people responded really well to. So if you enjoyed my previous career as like a pop culture entertainment writer, that model doesn't exist in the same way it used to, but this is basically a space for me to recreate that. And if you are one of my top patrons, like $20 a month or above, you can actually just request what I cover, and I will take 1 request a month and cover something that I wouldn't usually cover. So yeah, it's really fun. Thank you for subscribing. I'm very excited about it. I have a new one coming out this week about the 3 streaming services that I think everybody needs. I think you can survive with only 3, and I think that 2 of them are free, and you only need to pay for 1. So that's going to be my article, my cinephile streaming article.
Check it out.
That's great.
Jason, what do you have to plug, my friend?
I got a couple things to plug. I'm glad you asked. Juniper loved her plug last week, and has listened to it 7 times, and has requested another plug. The kids are very into, first of all, seeing that our podcast has an explicit E next to it. They know what that means now, and I think that's cool, and that they're mentioned on an explicit content podcast. Gonna shout out Juniper for her choral recital yesterday. Did an amazing job. Performed some of my favorite songs, including the Teddy Bear song and Bye Bye Butterfly. Really nailed the choreo. It's also fun because they do solfege, which reminds me of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So shout out to Juniper for that. Also shout out to Griffin, who rode 3 miles in Golden Gate Park over the weekend with me on his bike. Yeah, it was surprising. It was surprising. We really went for it. He showed he's ready for longer bike rides. And so we're gonna be out there. We're gonna be out there hitting the pavement on the old bikes.
I need to reconnect with my absent father and make him start a podcast so he can say affirming things about me on it. In the shower. This is like very healthy. I feel like this is really good for your kids.
I hope so.
I'm like, shit, who's someone just do affirmation, like somebody quickly. I need somebody to shout me out on their podcast who's my dad.
I definitely had the thought, like, when I had my cancer scare, like, whenever it was a year and a half ago, I was like, well, if it goes badly, they've got, like, lots of hours of me. They can, like, recreate me through AI. And, like, yeah.
Dude, it's just the AI version of you is just you recommending them the most, like, chaotic fucking movies of all time for the rest of their lives. Hey, kids, you're
My
missing your
dad
dad
said the F
today.
word a
Why
lot.
don't you watch Twilight, New Moon?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Perfect.